folks. To the downtime.
What?
To the pre-show.
Yes,
It's
right.
Nothing
yes,
to
the
be
pre-show.
excited about.
Oh my
The
gosh,
trailers.
Paul. Yes, yeah, this is the trailers. Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
nice.
Where they spoil everything before you even have to watch the movie. Have trailers always done that? I feel like they didn't used to. Like when we were
It
kids.
depends.
Oh,
It,
okay.
I mean,
it's
like
often
some of those older trailers, like if you go back and look at some of those movies in like the 70s,
Yeah.
they tell you pretty much the whole plot of the movie
Yeah.
in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like,
Good point. All right. Does everyone have their 2 likes and a classic
Oh,
maker,
2?
2
Okay.
dislikes, and a tragic maker? Hey,
Oh,
Jay,
yeah.
Hey, Cellcast.
So we're doing 3 total. Okay.
3 total each.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you guys all have those?
I do.
Nod if you do.
Well, I thought we were supposed to do 3 likes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
it's-
it's
Oh,
2
okay.
likes and like your favorite thing. Save your favorite thing for the last. That's your classic maker.
Count them down. Top
And
3.
then 2 dislikes, and then the thing you hated most, your tragic maker. That's what we call them. Does that make sense?
I'll wing it. Okay.
Okay.
Just save your best and worst for last.
Exactly. Let me go through the rest of the checklist here.
Are we doing a spiritual speculation? Probably won't have time with Solomon.
Yeah, probably not. Let's see. And
Sorry,
yeah,
you're not
so-
there on your checklist. Sorry.
So Solomon has a hard stop time at 3:30 Pacific, right? Solomon, you said.
I could do 3:40.
Okay,
No,
but
don't-
let's
don't
shoot for
cut it
3:30.
out. Yeah.
Let's shoot for 3:30. Okay. Let's see. Got that. Oh, turn my fan off.
Yes. I'll always shoot for a shorter time because people tend to overtalk.
What?
Yeah.
I
For the
never
medium.
overtalk. What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Our reviews are never longer than the movies themselves.
Never ever. Hey, Fresh. So, does anyone raise your hand if you do have a spiritual speculation question or prompting, if we have time for it. We may not have time for it. All right. Maybe we'll wing that too.
I have one that's not fully formed, but I was
Okay.
thinking about something during the movie.
That's fair. I mean, I sort of have one on theft, like, and stuff like that. But
Damaging laptops.
exactly, yeah. Geez, what's that about? And then what was my other question? Oh, did Solomon and Brother Nate? Did either of you get a chance to watch the Firefly episode? I'm just determining whether we're
No.
not.
Oh, which one?
Janestown.
Is that the first one?
No.
No.
No, oh no,
that's
that's
the
the one where
seventh
he throws all the cash out of the.
Yes.
Yes,
I
yes.
remember it. I haven't seen it in a while, but I've seen it.
So the
Maybe
answer's
Paul
no.
will just talk about it. That's fine.
Well,
What, Paul?
I was about to say we can talk about that afterwards.
Exactly. All right, guys. And then let me get a drink of water.
Invisiwater. This stream not.
It's
sponsored
not
by
Invisiwire
In-N-Out.
here because I have a green screen going. Yeah, I never overtalk, Ashley. I don't know what we're talking about. Why you gotta tease me with your in and out, Paul?
All right, here's a tease for you.
Oh my gosh! For those that aren't aware, Team Womp is a thing in this channel where people try to say that I don't do a good job at something, or that I'm I should be womped because of my bad gameplay skills or what have you. But that nothing could be further from the truth because I am a pro gamer.
Womp, womp.
I'm a professional in all aspects. In fact, you're going to see my professional Asian accent here in a second. All right.
Right.
Thumbs up if you are ready to go with the actual podcast.
Yep, let's go.
Awesome, guys. Then we will start. And yes, hashtag blame Ashley for team Womp. Okay, so there's the start. All right, here we go. In 5, 4,
Wait for it.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, listen up. All Nade, Joy Team, Ogmog, all Tang, okay, find out right now. What did I just say?
You just ask everybody to pick up the samurai swords and shave your butt while listening to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Reflux capacitor fluxing. Crew to
Rush Hour 2, 2001. Prepare to rewind in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the Super Bill Master Interrupter Powers.
Just remember, Captain, in Hong Kong, I'm Michael Jackson. You're Toto.
That's Tito. Toto's what we had for dinner last night. But also for this discussion of the film Rush Hour 2, we welcome back aboard Ship's chef, Brother Nate Milton. Hey, Brother Nate.
I'm doing this episode from Nelson Mandela and how he had to spend 27 years locked up. So this episode of Retro Rewind podcast is dedicated to the great Nelson Mandela. Hallelujah. What's going on, boys?
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Brother Nate. And we have a new guest to the show. We like to welcome aboard for the first time, creator of the Coffee and RPGs YouTube channel, Solomon K. Welcome, Solomon.
Emotional damage.
What?
You heard it.
Alrighty. Well, now that you have a quick flyby of who we are, though, do you really know who we are? Paul, can you give us a quick overview of production specs for Rush Hour 2?
All right, Rush Hour 4, Face Off 2.
What are you
The
talking about?
330 on the sequels of both Rush Hour and Face Off. It came out in 2015 with Lee Brian Hung as Detective Lee and Sean Puff Daddy Combs as Detective Lee Carter. It was
Paul.
written by- yes,
Paul,
yes.
Rush Hour Dose 2.
Yeah, this is the sequel. Oh, the movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
the movie, Paul.
Hold on. Okay. Rush Hour 2 was released August 2nd, in the year 2001, runs an hour and 30 minutes, and is rated PG-13. It was directed by Brett Ratner and written by Ross LaManna and Jeff Nathanson, with lead stars being Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. Shocker.
What?
The music was composed by Lalo Schifrin. Sure, we'll go with that. Are you
Sure,
ready
yeah.
for the box office trivia?
I'm ready. Brother Nate and Solomon, are you ready?
Let's go.
Yes.
And everyone in chat, feel free to join in as well. Go for it, Paul.
Okay, Rush Hour 2 was made for about $90 million and earned about $350 million at the box office.
Wow.
Given this and the fact that it was released theatrically in 1991, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released in 1991?
2001, Paul.
2001.
Yeah,
that-
you said 1991.
Sorry, that was my notes from the previous. All right, how it was released in 2001.
Yes.
How high in the box office do you think it ranks
All right.
among the movies released in 2001?
All right, let's
Go
start
for the
with
top 50.
Brother Nate. Where in the top 50 do you think this ranks?
You know, I'm going to go a little ambitious here for our guys Carter and Lee, and I'm going to say this is a top 10. So I'll say number 9.
Number 9. Okay. Solomon, how about yourself?
I think it didn't. Now, from what I could remember, and which could be totally wrong, I think domestically it didn't do well, but worldwide, that's where the real money came in. And so I'd argue it'd probably be top 5, actually.
Okay, so are you gonna say 5?
Yeah. No. 3. Let's go with
3. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So just below Fellowship of the Ring and Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone. All right, that's pretty bold.
Wow, you know your
2001
box office.
For me, I'm gonna go right pretty much between you guys. I'm gonna say 6 for my guess, because it's a very popular movie. I feel like being the sequel to a popular one. So in chat we have, let's see, Cellcast guess is 15, Dale guess is 7, Stacy's guess is 10. I think that was all the guesses. Paul, where did it end up in the top 50?
Well, it did better than Rush Hour, but not break the top 10. It comes in at number 12.
12.
Wow,
Okay.
really?
All right. That's close.
It's respectable.
Yeah,
Way
exactly.
Stacy won that.
So Stacy was the closest.
job.
Good job, Stacy. But no, you know what? Maybe there's maybe
There's a
I want to
transition
say
you can
thank
say?
you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice is located our target film.
Alert! Alert! Approaching target. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
Now, get ready. Chinese bamboo is very strong. For a second rush.
You smell good.
Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan, Rush Hour 2.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Nobody understands the words that are coming out of your mouth.
A Brett Ratner film, rated PG-13. Now playing.
Indeed, now playing. But how did that play into our memories of the film Rush Hour 2? Well, let's get into our memory mind meld synopsis of this movie. East meets West again as Tucker and Lee are in China on vacation, but get pulled into an international mystery. They wisecrack their way through a massage parlor and karaoke bar and wind up running naked down the streets until they finally reach the Red Dragon laundering funny money in Vegas, where Carter marshals his arts against Hu Lee and wins by a fluke. I guess Hu Lee won't be in Rush Hour 3. Who is Hu Lee? I don't remember that. In fact, our memories must have been deceptive. The rest of that seemed actually pretty accurate. But based on those memories, as flawed, they're so flawed as they were, what reign did they lead you to predict before you watched this film? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Let's start with Brother Nate. So you'd seen this movie before, but before your rewatch, what was your prediction for how you would rate it?
So before my rewatch, I predicted nostalgic because I remember liking it, but I felt like it would be a step below Rush Hour, the original.
Yeah,
So and
I
I,
totally
rated
get
that a classic. So I figured this would be nostalgic before the rewatch this week.
Okay, awesome. Solomon, how about you? What was your prediction?
Pretty much the same. Like I totally forgot the plot and everything about this movie.
Okay.
So
You did watch this again, though, right?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay. Sometimes that's
the most
happened
part.
before.
For the most part.
Okay.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, but
You watched the
nostalgic
trailer?
was
Absolutely.
nostalgic was your prediction, though. You said.
Yeah.
All right, middle of the road. Paul, how about you? What was your prediction for this?
Nostalgic as well.
Nostalgic as well. Apparently, I was the only one that was like, just remember this so fondly that I actually predicted classic for Rush Hour 2. I remember watching this one a lot, along with Rush Hour with like Paul when we were in college. So my prediction was classic, and it'll be interesting to see if those predictions come true. But first, let's get into our discussion of the things we liked most about Rush Hour 2. Let's spin up our
Best bets.
All right, the top things we like about Rush Hour 2. And let's start with Brother Nate. What's one thing you liked about this film?
There's so many things in this film. Once I did the rewatch this week, that I'm like, oh, I remember that. I remember
Yes,
that was in this movie, because like Solomon's saying, I think all three of the Rush Hour films kind of
Bleed
run together. The further you get away from them.
Yes.
And so I'm like, oh yeah, this is the one where Don Cheadle shows up randomly. That's right. I think the first thing I enjoyed about this is the fight scenes, the choreography, the creativity. It still holds up, even 21 years later.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I still can't believe Jackie Chan gets through that little window for in the casino thing. I'm like, how? How do you do that? That's amazing.
Lays off the cheeseburgers. That's how.
Wow. Oh my gosh, Paul. So that's your advice to me? If I want to squeeze through that, I need to lay off the cheeseburgers.
Yeah,
Got
but
it.
that's
You
also
have to
my
switch to a kosher diet.
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go.
gefilte
With the-
fish.
Yeah. But that's also my is the
really?
fight scenes. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Jackie Chan movies are known for their fight scenes, and this is another one I think that utilizes the props around them in these
Mhm.
scenes, and it feels very real and believable for that.
Yeah.
Not as real as like, hey, there's no blood or people aren't like limping everywhere, but you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
it's real enough for movies.
Exactly. Solomon, did the choreography choreography something that made your like list, or was there something else that really struck your fancy?
I think, well, one of the things that I mentioned was, the fight scene like at the spa was really cool. I thought that was
Yes,
probably the best one.
yeah.
But for me, it was the jokes.
Yeah,
Because there's
comedy of it,
no
yes.
way you can make that film today in this politically correct climate.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
And in my personal opinion, I think that's a travesty.
Mhm.
They did a lot of digs at Asians. I enjoyed it. And those of you who are listening to this, I'm Asian, obviously.
Wait,
And
hold
so-
on.
I know.
Hold on. You're Asian?
But the thing is, it's like they're making fun of both Asians and Americans, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And so depending on which way you lean, you might only hear one side. But
Sure.
when in reality, they're making fun of everybody.
Yeah.
And I really wish, that's what I really appreciate about the early 2000s and the 90s, is that there was no filter. And
Mhm.
I get it. Some jokes can be a little too far and be mean spirited. But in the Rush Hour series, they're all fun and games.
Yeah, it feels like it is, because I think there's this. I'm almost wanting to get in my classic maker. I'll say this though: there is so much you can. I don't know if Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker are friends to this day off screen, but as far as just watching them in the outtakes, they seem so friendly to each other, and like they just had fun working together. So I think that really resonates, and like you said, Solomon, there's no mean spiritedness to the jokes. They're just for fun, and they come out of a good place from both of them. So yeah, I totally see that. And speaking of the comedic elements of this, and what I just spoke to in their dynamic, I just love the outtakes. I love it when movies have outtakes at the end during the credits. I think it's just such a fun thing, especially for comedies, just to see all the bloopers and all the jokes that didn't quite land, or the things that didn't work. I really enjoyed that aspect of the film. Let's see, what else was enjoyable for you, Paul? What's something else that you liked?
Speaking of the humor, just Chris Tucker being his younger self. I mean, the later movies he's calmed down a bit, but this is going back to where, he has a big mouth and he uses it, and there's a lot of humor in there. So just him as in this role, he just knocks it out of the park.
Absolutely, I could totally see that. Let's see, Solomon, what's something else you enjoyed? If it was another character or something else?
Yeah, it kind of ties into what Paul said, because there was that scene where he like Carter has to fight Hugh Lee. I'm already forgetting her name. And he's like,
"Oh, is that Zhang Ziyi's character from
Yeah.
Hidden Dragon?"
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that.
And Leah's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got this. And he still has that youthfulness. Youthfulness.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you see a character development from the first movie and the second movie, where he's still goofy, but a little bit more confident compared to the first one, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
And
I almost it gets, for me. Sorry to just walk over what you're saying, but are you sort of getting at that it's almost like his bravado, which he has a ton of in the first movie, has sort of given way to an actual inner confidence that's not so. It's like, yes, I can handle this. I'm not just all show.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think that's probably one of the criticisms for the trilogy, is that you still have the same character, Chris being Chris and Jackie Chan being Jackie Chan. But if you really look at it, there's a lot of character development there that you might have missed.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's see, what really developed for you in this sequel movie for Brother Nate that you enjoyed?
So, I've got a lot of thoughts about Chan and Tucker, but I'll save that for a little bit later.
Okay.
But I think another thing that I really liked about Rush Hour 2 this time around is just, I had forgotten how many of these side characters I actually enjoyed. Like
Yes.
Ricky Tan. Like Ricky
Yes.
Tan. And here's the thing, like the only thing I remembered from this movie, like there are 2-3 things, but like I remember Hooli with the bomb at the end of the movie. I remembered, the fight at the massage parlor. And
Yes,
I vividly remember 20 years later, Carter smashing Ricky Tan's computer. Just a random 3-second
interesting
moment in this
really.
movie. And I always remembered it because the disrespect, Solomon, that Carter showed, taking this man's computer with the DVD player and smashing it and stomping on it, calling him Little Ricky. Like Ricky Tan, we had Isabella, I believe, is the Secret Service agent.
Secret Service,
I liked her in the movie. Hu Lee, the rich white man who we knew was bad because he followed Carter's theory of investigation.
What's his name?
Yes,
Ryan something.
Stephen Ryan.
Was it Raines? No, Stephen Raines.
Stephen Raines.
Yeah. That's it.
So I like the little side characters, even like the chief in Hong Kong. That was sorry, Lee, we got to arrest you, and sorry, we got to send Carter back to America. These side characters, I like them a lot, even though I was missing our girl from the first Rush Hour.
Yes,
the bomb expert. Like I wish.
Yeah, well, she's in L.A.
Well, they go back to LA for a little bit.
Though.
Did she die?
No, I think she's still alive.
No, she was alive at the end of the
Sorry,
movie.
I might be thinking of somebody else.
Yeah. No,
I mean
agree.
the actress, not that.
I would have liked to see more return. Apparently, they're like the chief of police in the LAPD that was in the first movie. He was going to come back, and there was a couple of people that were going to come back for this. And I think they filmed it, if IMDb is to be trusted, but those scenes just got cut or something like that.
Oh, boo!
Yeah, exactly. Boo.
Release
indeed.
the chief cut.
Right. Exactly. But I totally get that, Brother Nate. Something
she died
that's
in 2014. Sorry.
She did?
Yeah, the actress.
What's her
R.I.P.
name? What's
Elizabeth Pena.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
okay.
yes, she was so good.
Man. Something that doesn't have to do with really anything of what you guys have said actually made my like list was the pacing. Well, no, the pacing of this film was so good. There wasn't ever like a moment where I'm like, okay, can we just get on to the next thing? Or I'm like looking at my phone or like I'm just like, this is sort of dumb. It just had me like, there was either a joke at the right moment or a fight scene at the right moment or a story element at the right moment or a mystery it was just really just paced phenomenally. I feel like the same is the case for the first one in most of the ways. So I thought the pacing was fantastic. But what was the most fantastic things about Rush Hour 2? Let's get into our classic makers. And I'm going to go with Brother Nate first. What was your favorite thing?
Yes. So my classic maker for Rush Hour 2 is the same thing that it was for Rush Hour 1, and spoiler alert, will probably be the same thing for Rush Hour 3. And that's Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
Yes.
Because I feel like Rush Hour 2 is a solid movie. But I feel like if you put two lesser actors in there that didn't have that same chemistry, we wouldn't remember it as fondly.
Exactly.
And there's so many great little moments, like when they're arguing with each other, or when they're both spying on Isabella and she's got a Snoopy tattoo. Let me see, Lee.
I like Snoopy.
Yeah, I like Snoopy.
I like Snoopy too.
The moment where like they're great together, but they're also great individually. You mentioned Chris Tucker.
Absolutely.
The scene at the casino where he's like,
Yes.
I want black people and white people and even Chinese people to be able to gamble together. Like, that was great.
Yeah.
The two scenes I think are Jackie's best are, when he thinks Carter's dead and they play "I'll Be Missing You" in the car, and there's a little emotion.
Yes.
But then also when spoiler alert, Ricky Tan didn't die, everybody, and he's got the gun to Ricky Tan at the end of the movie, and he has a choice to make. And it's like there's some actual emotional beats in this movie. It's not just all laughs. It's not just all action. But I think the classic maker for me is easily Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, because without them, this movie isn't as good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's pretty much my classic maker as well, Brother Nate, Chris Tucker, and Jackie Chan. I love Chris Tucker's jubilance in this and Jackie Chan's sweetness. I feel like they just go together so well. They're just this was
Like peanut butter and jelly.
like peanut butter and jelly, like sweet and sour. Like take your like pepperoni and pineapple on a pizza. Am I right, guys? Am I right?
I like pineapple.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do too. I do.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We're
I
good
knew I
here.
liked you guys. But it's just so they work together so well, and just it really exponentially raises the fun of these movies. This one, no exception. Let's go to Solomon next. What's your favorite thing about Rush Hour 2?
Yeah, again, sorry to sound like a broken record player, but I think Nate and you guys nailed it. I think I heard or read somewhere they actually was initially going to cast Martin Lawrence originally.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like Chris Tucker wasn't
Interesting.
the first person.
Yeah.
And
he
I know
didn't
Martin-
have the box office numbers at the time. That,
Right, exactly.
yeah.
But Martin Lawrence was a really huge comedian back then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they were gonna cast him instead, but for whatever reason, I don't know why they went with they didn't go with Martin Lawrence. I mean, I like Martin Lawrence, but thank goodness like he wasn't cast and they casted Tucker instead, because again,
It could have worked. It probably would have been good, but I think Martin and thinking about Martin at that time when Martin was doing a lot of the action movies and trying
like
to,
Bad Boys.
he was
stuff
trying to
like
be
that about that
serious.
time.
I don't know if Martin would have allowed himself to be as silly as Chris did in these movies.
Good point.
I agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Like Martin Lawrence, I mean, he could have, like you said, Nate, but it just wouldn't have been the same.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Paul, are you gonna just make the quadrifecta? Or
No,
something else
I'm going to disagree with you guys by agreeing with what you all said earlier, and that's the humor. I thought the humor was the best part of this film.
Yeah. Okay. Even more. I'm curious, Paul. Did you like the humor even more than the first one?
You know what surprised me the most is I thought it held up. It was on par, equal to the lines that Tucker had and Lee. I was surprised on how it held up when comparing both the humor in both movies. I thought they were pretty similar.
I felt like it had a good balance of callbacks to the original and all, like no one could understand the words coming out of your mouth. That whole thing, and also just new comedic bits.
Yeah. You ever heard of Popeyes?
Oh my goodness.
The Don Cheadle scene.
Yes.
Like the Don Cheadle scene still always like the Kung Fu Kenny scene.
Good.
He's like, Tiger Style? Yes, I studied under Master Jing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Jing from Beijing? No, Freddie Jing. Oh, his brother. Okay.
Yeah. And that kind of reinforces what you said earlier, Nate, about the side characters that you love about.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. That another interesting side. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to just we were talking about bringing up side characters. I really enjoyed Jeremy Piven, sort of the very flamboyant guy at Vegas. Like, and one of the people put the whole quote in our memories, so I won't do it here. But just I loved his dynamic with them both, trying to address them. Well, awesome guys. It sounds like there's so much we liked about this, but maybe there's some things we don't like, which we'll get into once I realized there's something else I liked. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot. I seem to run into this. I don't know why I can't get into my head that I always seem to have one more like, and I just have to share that. And that would be Geek Devotions. Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They produce a weekly geek culture-infused devotional, their podcast Comm Talk, and written articles all designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their fandom, and their geekdoms. Find all their content at geekdevotions.com.
That sounds more like a commercial than a like. But what does that have to do with Rush Hour 2?
Well,
I mean,
see,
I like that commercial.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Brother Nate. But, I mean, Jackie Chan is devoted to solving his father's last case. He might even be he might be a little geeky about it too, because he likes Snoopy. That's something.
Wow.
Fine, Paul. How about some trivia about Rush Hour 2? I
Yes,
suppose
that'd be
you
much
like that better.
Yes.
Okay, then.
Yes, let's do trivia about Rush Hour 2, not Geek Devotions.
Or Rush Hour 4.
Sure.
Oh my
That's a sequel.
Did you all realize that the counterfeit dollar bills used in the movie say, "In dog we trust"? But during shooting, some
Toto.
some extras walked off the set with some of the fake cash and eventually ended up in a few casinos in Las Vegas.
What?
The situation went so out of control that production was briefly shut down when the FBI subjected the props department to an investigation to determine whether or not they violated the Counterfeit Deterrence Act of 1992. So my question to you guys is, why are you using counterfeit money? No. Do you have any fun or interesting Vegas or gambling stories? Let's start with you, Paul.
Did I already tell you on the show about the time that I went to Vegas and got stuck in an elevator?
I don't think so. I don't recall it, at least. Refresh your memory.
No, that's about as interesting as it gets. We instead of staying on the strip, we wanted to save a little money and go off. So it's like a little more rundown hotel. We were going up the elevator, and I forget why, but I was jumping up and down as it was going up, and all of a sudden it stuck. We were only stuck for like maybe 2 minutes or something.
Oh, okay.
But
That must have been scary.
no, well, yeah, because it's kind of run down, and you're like. And the air is kind of musty, and you're like, I know I'm not gonna die. Like they'll get the fire department in a couple hours, but it's just not fun.
Yeah. Next time you tell that story, you should say, and I had a full bladder. It was like, ah!
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Let's go with Brother Nate next. Do you have any fun Vegas or gambling stories?
So I've never really been to Vegas. Like I've passed through Vegas on trips.
Sure. Yeah.
But I do have a gambling story from the days of my youth. So this would have been mid 90s. It was around the Tyson Holyfield 2 fight.
Oh, nice.
And this is the one where I believe this is the ear biting fight.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask. Yes.
And so, I think I might have been in middle school, maybe a freshman in high school, somewhere around there. And so, we're making like bets at the lunchroom table. And here's the thing. Here's a lesson for all the gamblers out there that might be listening to the Retro Rewind podcast. Always know your limits. Don't bet more than you can afford to cover. I didn't know that lesson back in this time.
Oh,
so
that's how you learn.
I ended up betting like 10 different people. $5 to $10, and so on the fight, because everybody's like, oh, there's no way Tyson's gonna come back, he's gonna beat Holyfield. I'm from Atlanta, I was born in Atlanta, so Holyfield's from Atlanta, so I was like, no, Holyfield's gonna win. So I'm making these $5 to $10 bets with 10 different people, and so like the total that I owed if Holyfield lost would have been like almost $200, which I didn't have at the time. Like, now that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but as a middle schooler slash high schooler,
that's a lot.
That's some cash. So I made all these bets that I wasn't able to cover, Solomon. And so, again, I did not pray on the fight, but God was looking out for me because Tyson bit Holyfield's ear and was DQ'd. So by the technical rule of the law, Holyfield won the fight. So I didn't have to owe all of these people money.
How much money did you make off that?
So I made like about $250.
Nice.
Yes. And so, but I would have owed. I would have been in trouble because some of these guys were guys on the football team with me. Some of these guys were, guys that might be hanging out with Ricky Tan. If you get my drift, some dangerous people. I didn't owe anybody any money. I didn't get in trouble. So that's my big gambling story.
Brother Nate, I thought this was your origin story, how you got trapped into the mafia.
I smashed his laptop, and he's like, "Well, now you got to work and pay it off."
Bro, that's like $1,000 in today's money, basically.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. With inflation, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's awesome, Brother Nate. So the moral is gamble big; it'll pay off. Solomon, how about for you?
Yeah, there was one time I spent $1,000 on loot boxes. That counts, right?
Whoa, yeah, it does.
Wow.
That's insane.
Oh my God.
I won't say which game, but yeah, it was pretty bad.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Did you get anything good at least?
Yeah, it's cosmetics.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Well, all right. That's gambling for sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
And now that we've had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about Rush Hour 2.
All right. Alex Ortiz says, You got the mochaccino face, the big broad shoulders. Let's put a dead animal on you. Buttercream. What size is the waistline? Let's go in. Also, Jackie Chan fitting through that tiny money slot is still pretty crazy to think about, for sure.
Yep. Justin Warford says, all he wanted was some Mushu.
Wardale White says, remember thinking, I like Snoopy too. I remember having as much fun with the sequel as I did the original. I liked how they flipped the location, set in Hong Kong. Chan and Tucker were great together. Rosalind Sanchez was a very attractive addition to the cast. Again, I had fun with it.
Celeste Morris says, war. Yeah. What is it good for? She goes on to say, I absolutely love the movie franchise. It was so fun. The VHS that my friend had some funny bloopers. We watched it so often that we used to be able to quote them.
Nice. Philip Hurd says, just saw this and the first one recently for the first time. Oh, wow. They were silly and fun. I particularly appreciate how it's not politically correct. Is this you, Solomon?
Yep.
Jackie,
100%.
Jackie Chan is a marvel to watch. Check out Police Story if you have HBO Max. I've never seen Police Story. Have any of you guys?
Yeah, and the sequels. Yeah. It's much like Jackie Chan's movies at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. Mikkel Withers says, I remember it happened. I hope that's better than I don't remember.
Stanley Wright says, I think I remember Chris Tucker tried too hard in this one. All right.
Oh. The Dapper Man says, no wonder they're mad. Bare naked bottoms.
Okay. Aaron Huey says, have fun. Okay, thank you.
And John Harju says, nothing, because I haven't seen any of them. Chris Tucker wants to be Eddie Murphy in the worst way, and Jackie Chan in English-speaking movies is almost unwatchable.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
I mean, I feel like John's memories sort of lead us into the things we didn't like about Rush Hour 2. So let's get our
Worst woes.
worst woes going. Fine, Paul. Is it too loud? Is that why you keep twitching?
It actually is loud.
It is loud. Okay, well, I can't control the volume here, but I will I'm gonna have redo. I know we're in edit mode. I'm gonna redo all those anyway, and that's good to know that the volume on those needs to go down.
Thanks for bleeding my ears.
You're welcome. No problem.
That's what podcasts are for.
Exactly. All right. So yes, back from edit mode. So yeah, let's talk about the things we didn't like about Rush Hour 2. I'm sure there were some things. I'll go ahead and kick us off by saying, and this isn't, I guess this isn't so fair. This is like really like not fair to Rush Hour 2. So that's why I'm starting with it. I don't like that Jackie and Isabella aren't a couple in the third Rush Hour.
That's
like,
fair.
why set up this romance here if it's not going to continue? I hate that.
Right.
So.
That's fair.
So that's really more of a problem with Rush Hour 3, but still, I'll say it for a dislike here. Let's go with Brother Nate next. What's one thing you didn't like about this film?
I don't have too many dislikes about this film, surprisingly. You know, I was kind of surprised on the rewatch. I think, though, that, and I will speak to the piece of feedback that you had in terms of Chris Tucker trying to be like a wannabe Eddie Murphy. Like, I don't think that's the case. I think there are some scenes, though, where it's a little much, but I'll take those scenes where he's a little much. Like, I'm thinking about the one where they're, like, tied up in the truck.
Oh, yes.
He's like that. That's like, okay, guys, that's cute, but I'll take those scenes that are kind of a little to get the casino table scene every time, because I think that was fantastic. You know, in the scene at the massage parlor, like, I think that was fantastic.
Exactly.
So I think there's a bit of, I guess you could say, overacting. I wouldn't even go that far, but I mean, come on, this is Rush Hour 2.
Yeah,
you knew what you were signing up for.
Even with Chris Tucker, I would prefer him overacting than underacting.
Yes. And clearly he was trying to be Michael Jackson, if anyone. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. With the head
Solomon, let's go.
Come on, Francisco.
Solomon, let's go to you next. What's something that didn't jam on for you?
It's not Rush Hour 2 specifically. It's just the trilogy in general. Like
Oh.
as Nate pointed out earlier, all three movies just kind of blend in. It's just a giant blur. I can't. If I'm thinking of a scene, I can't remember if it's from 1, 2, or 3. Because like all three movies are unique, but also at the same time they're not. You know, like I can't really remember. So you have 3 great movies of just awesome action scenes and jokes, but it's really hard to differentiate what movie they came from. So
Well, I guess that means you just need to watch each one more. Solomon.
fair enough. But whereas like other trilogies, I could tell which scene like came from which movie, like Lord of the
I
Rings.
get that.
You know, but with Rush Hour, I just can't do that for some reason. Maybe that's more about me than the trilogy. I don't know.
Well, that sounds like a like to me for a trilogy. A lot of trilogies have that 1 or 2 where you're like, oh, that one wasn't as good. Where you could point it out. That sounds like a consistent thread.
But I can see what Solomon's saying too. It's like you want to have some distinctiveness, like, oh yeah, Rush Hour 2. That's the one where this happened. I really like that element of it, as opposed to which one did that happen in?
The Ewoks can't save the universe in every trilogy.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Paul, what couldn't the Ewoks save for Rush Hour 2?
There were a couple of things that didn't, a couple scenes in the movie that didn't make sense, the logic, the flow. For example, in the massage that Chris Tucker's character just wanted a massage, and like, okay, there's the bad guy over there, and he's like, no man, I just want a massage. And then Lee's like, okay, I'm gonna go for backup. And all Chris Tucker would have to do was like, okay, you call for backup, I'll watch him and see if he goes anywhere. He didn't have to get up and go, or he could say, no, go get him. I got your back if there's any trouble. Either way, he could have enjoyed his massage. The whole thing, I know they wanted him. They had to get him up there to ruin his laptop.
Yes.
But the way they got about it just didn't make sense logically for that character.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. And in that same vein, one other thing the next thing I didn't like was I felt like, and I know it's one of those things that I understand why they did it for the movie, but I feel like they dwelled on. Oh wait. Well, no, in general, is mainly in the massage parlor part, but also Isabella later on. I feel like there's a lot of female skin that they didn't have to dwell on as much. I get they need to set up. Yes, it's very much like for Carter, especially, who wants his Mushu. It's like, yes, let me look at this buffet of women, essentially. But I felt like they just went on and on and on with it a lot. So I felt like that.
Well, it was directed by Brett Ratner.
Well, okay, fine. This is my dislike.
Oh, okay.
I can have my dislikes, Paul.
I'm not. Oh, I'm just saying I'm agreeing with you, kind of.
Oh, okay.
Keyword kinda.
Yeah.
So that was another dislike I had. Let's go back to Solomon. What's something else you don't like?
I can't think of anything else, to be honest with you. It's just
It's just so good, this movie. Well, hopefully you have your worst dislike soon. Let's go to Brother Nate next.
Yeah, the only other thing I have that's a dislike is my Tragic Maker.
Oh, okay, fine.
Let me. I have an extra one I can throw in there.
Paul, go for it.
You have my
Another scene that didn't make sense is Isabella's in the casino at the end of the movie. Said, "Hey, see that big metal container going through the door over there? We think the plates are in there.
Yeah.
So you got to get it before it goes through the door, and it shows it about to go through the door." 5 minutes later, after a big fight, Jackie Chan gets to the door and it's still going through that door. It's like, where's the momentum in this? If these plates were that secretive, it would already been through the door. Like, come on.
Yeah, and wait, so were they even in there? Because I feel like they're up in the safe because Reigns went and got it out of a safe. So,
it was like, it was all misdirection. It kind of jumped around in there. It didn't make sense. So
yeah, it's almost just a way to get Jackie in the back to have a fight scene in the back of the casino.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't trust Isabella, Whose side is she on?
Whose side is she on? I don't know.
She probably didn't even go to New York. That's why they're not together in the third movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Somewhere else. Gosh.
Took a plane to Jersey.
Bella.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Trying to find Snoopy. Funny thing is they wanted to get a Snoopy tattoo, but they couldn't get the rights. They had the rights to talk about it, but not show it. Weird.
Oh, wait. So they didn't even show a tattoo? I don't remember.
They had a
like
tattoo.
a nose or something?
that they tried to make it look like Snoopy, but without it getting trouble with the copyrights.
Okay, got it. I get it. Okay, I see. All right. Well, then, guys, I guess that leaves our tragic makers, the things we hid.
Wait,
most
no, I have
about
more.
this- Oh, then
That
go
was
for
a
it, Paul.
bonus one.
All right, give me another one.
This was
Throw it at me.
almost my tragic maker.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
But you have Ernie Reyes Jr. in here.
Why are you taking my tragic maker, Paul?
Take it away, Francisco.
Yeah. Why? So actually, I know the reason why. Because I actually had the opportunity to ask Ernie Reyes Jr. himself.
Oh,
why
nice.
Why he didn't get to do this. But yeah, for the
But
longest
he
time,
did.
me and Paul were always thinking, you have Ernie there. Why is Ernie there just running away? That's it. That's all he is in the movie.
I've
When you-
enjoyed Ernie since he was like 5 years old, and he was like a black belt at that time, and he's
like
in
Red
TV
Sonja.
shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
and-
wasn't Sidekicks? Was that his?
yeah,
TV show he's in?
Sidekicks and
Yeah,
his
yeah.
Turtles, and
Yep.
yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, why have him in this and he's not doing any martial arts? So
This isn't even really a cameo. Like, come on,
Right,
it's so
right.
frustrating.
so I actually asked him because his dad started the martial arts association I used to train at, and he was just in town visiting. And so I asked him about this, and he said this was like almost like 7 years ago when I asked this, so I may be not quite remembering quite right, but it's something to the effect of they got on the phone with stage and said, hey, we were doing Rush Hour 2. We were interested in you coming out and doing a fight scene with Jackie Chan. Would you like to do that? And he's like, oh, Jackie Chan? Yes, I'd love to do that. And so he was
Yeah.
all excited about going out. Then they got to the day of filming. Like I think they figured out what they were going to do or something, or they're trying to get to that point, and they kept delaying and delaying and delaying. And so they just essentially got to this point where they didn't have time to film this fight scene they had planned, and so he is disappointed about it. But
Oh yeah,
it's just it just didn't work out for.
he needs to
timing-wise
come
do it.
back as a good guy,
Nah,
not a bad guy.
yes, for Rush Hour 4, I like.
Yes.
Another disappointment from Brett Ratner. Thank you.
it. Right. Oh goodness. So that was my tragic maker. Thanks for stepping on it there, Paul. But thankfully,
I introduced it for
take
you.
away. Exactly.
Set it up and you spiked it.
You did. Let's hear what really was spiky for you, Brother Nate. What did you hate most about this film?
So now that I know, first of all, that Francisco has studied Tiger Style, and out there with Don Cheadle, but
Exactly,
also
yes.
like now that I know about the Ernie Reyes thing, like that actually is probably my personal tragic maker.
Uh-huh.
But I'll give you the one that I had thought of, and it's not so much for me specifically, but I can see it for other people.
Oh, okay.
And it goes to something Solomon touched on earlier,
Oh,
and
okay.
that's some of the humor, right? Like if you're looking at it through 2021 lenses, you know, maybe it could be a bit much for some people.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
as you said, Francisco, I think it was all of the jokes in this movie are out of a spirit of love, and
Yeah.
like we just making jokes, we having fun, y'all. It's
Right,
not
exactly.
anything mean or spiteful or hateful to it.
Yeah.
So like I don't think there's an issue with it, but I could understand if somebody who's coming in, like maybe the listener that you said, maybe watch this for the first time.
Oh yeah.
This week, like maybe with 2022 ears and eyes, they're like, oh, that caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
it's you have to kind of look at these films as a product of their time, and so that's like,
Agreed.
it's a tragic maker, but it's kind of a tragic maker in name only,
By proxy
sort
or
of,
something.
yes, by
Yeah.
proxy.
Yeah. Totally get that. Then that leaves Solomon and Paul. But let's go with Solomon next. What's your tragic maker, Solomon?
I'll
The thing you
just
hate
end it
most.
with this. It's kind of tragic, but not really. But maybe if you squint a little bit, because
Okay.
no. Wow. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker running butt naked on the highway.
I thought it was funny.
I mean, for some
Is it
people,
too
that
much?
might be the classic maker.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't really talking about that being too much skin, but I can see where you're going with that, Solomon. Yeah.
I'm not really serious about that, but I
Oh,
thought
okay.
I don't.
Some people
I don't need
wanted to
that.
see all that mochaccino sauce.
Especially when you have two races with when they have a contrast. You know, if you know what I mean.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Okay, I'll stop it there.
It's
Wow.
like chocolate and vanilla swirl running down the freeway.
Apparently, again, IMDb trivia, take it with a grain of salt, but apparently they actually didn't stop, like close down the highway or anything. It was
No,
like
they
real traffic that they
yeah.
stopped and let them out in.
Well, that's halfway true. That
halfway
is
true. Okay.
According to Brett Ratner in the commentary, they had a couple of their own cars slowing down behind them so that the traffic wouldn't hit them. But yeah, they didn't close down all, like they only had like 3 or 4 cars out there that were theirs.
Wow,
but,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, like they didn't have the permits or something, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, it's in China, so I don't know what the.
That's awesome.
Yeah, geez. But now that we've, what am I thinking, Paul?
Yeah.
I need to hear
Oh,
your
my tragic maker.
most
Okay.
hated thing for Rush Hour 2.
So you asked me earlier about the humor, and I said it was on par. So I
Yeah.
was wondering, what about this film? There's something about this film that I don't like it as much as the first. And what is that? And after a while of contemplating, what I think it is that in Rush Hour 2, they do a role reversal with Jackie
Fish
Chan
out
and
of
Chris
water
Tucker
type thing?
character.
Yeah, it's
Right.
different.
Yeah. So that Chris Tucker is in Hong Kong, and that's Lee's home base. But
Yes.
it's not the position, it's the characters. Because in the first one, we're used to Chris Tucker being the big mouth. He's the liar. He's the one who's like making things up. And Jackie Chan is quiet, and he comes out on top, and he appears much smarter than Tucker. In this, Jackie Chan's character is the liar, and he's the one who's trying to go around, and while Chris Tucker's character is on vacation. And he
Yes.
doesn't come across as the smarter one. That comedy dynamic has shifted in a way that I don't think is equal or as good as the first one. And I think
could
that
see that. Yeah.
that tone overall is what makes it not as good as the first.
Okay, I could see that. For me, if we're going off like comparing it to the first one, the thing that I feel like the whole kidnapping thing works a bit better as
it does.
as a story trope than like there's this guy that I think backstabbed my father, maybe, so I'm gonna kind of go try to solve his last
Well,
case.
there's a
which is
bomb
this-
over here. I think this man over here from my dad's old case is responsible. No pie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, they could have tied Ricky Tan in a little bit tighter. in the main
Yes,
story.
yes, absolutely.
Jeez, I didn't know Paul was such a scholar. That's amazing.
Pay attention.
Well, now that we've paid attention to all the things we liked, all the things we didn't like, we've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer. Alice, do you have a firing solution for us?
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready. On your mark.
All right, guys. Do we rate Rush Hour 2 a classic? We'd recommend anyone go see it, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, it's worth your time to revisit if you saw it way back in your earlier days. It'd be fun to rewatch again. But if you've never seen it before, probably go check something else out. Or is it a tragic? We'd recommend no one go watch this. If you've never seen it before, keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any good memories you have of it with a rewatch. So let's start with Brother Nate. What is your final rating for Rush Hour 2?
This one is actually kind of tough.
Okay, and you had predicted nostalgic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, where did it end up after that?
So, like the last Rush Hour, the first one, I predicted classic, definitely a classic. This one I predicted nostalgic. It's better than nostalgic, but I don't know if it's as classic.
Okay.
Like it's not essential. Like if somebody's like, I need to watch one of the Rush Hour movies, it's obviously the first one, right?
Yes,
like
absolutely.
You watch the first one, kind of to Solomon's point. Even if you don't watch the other two, you kind of know some of the beats that the other two movies have. But this movie was a lot better on rewatch than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be funny. I thought it was going to, have some good fight scenes.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot more. And again, like those side characters, like Ricky Tan and Hu Lee and Isabella and
the chicken lady,
the chicken lady, Kung Fu Kenny, Don Cheadle.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I liked the movie a lot more than I thought it would. So if there's such a thing as like a low classic, I'd give it a low classic.
It's
So is that-
nostalgically classic, apparently.
like-
Nostalgically classic.
I like that.
All right. So classic from Brother Nate. Solomon, how about for yourself? You had also predicted nostalgic. Where did you end up with this?
Yeah, so because I'm from California, I have to go with tragic. No, I'm kidding.
For sure, dude.
I only say
guess-
that because of what Nate said. He's totally dead on. Like the jokes. Again, I wish we could go back to that time, but somebody who's like less than 20 years old is gonna watch it and be like, "Oh, I'm so offended."
Are you assuming I'm older than 20?
That's ageism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm clearly 19 plus 21.
They do say Tiger Style takes years off of your life.
There you go. There you go. Dang, I don't even know that style. Anyways, I still have to go with the nostalgic factor,
Nostalgic?
just because, like, again, look, I want everybody to see this film, like, or any of the three, really. Because it like Nate said earlier, it's a film made during its time. They just had a different culture back then, and a culture that I dare say resonate more. But considering with that being said, like if you do take issue with those jokes and if you do take offense to it, like I'm not here to judge. That's a valid point. So that's why I'd have to go with more nostalgic than anything.
That
else.
makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. Paul, what reign makes the most sense to you?
I so the first movie
Tragic. All right, that's weird.
No, the
but
first Rush
okay.
Hour movie got a unanimous classic rating, final
Yes.
rating
Yeah.
from all of us.
Yes.
And I would agree with that. And again, I didn't like this as much.
Mhm.
So and I don't think it's one that everybody needs to go out and see. If you haven't seen Rush Hour, definitely I echo what everyone says. See the first one.
Mhm.
This one, if you haven't seen it, you're not missing anything by not watching it. But if you have enjoyed it, it's still and like Brother Nate, I was surprised how much I liked it this rewatch again. So it is a fun rewatch if you liked it before, but it's not essential in my book.
So which
That's-
is that? Nostalgic or
That's
classic? Paul?
nostalgic.
Nostalgic,
Because it's
okay.
only for
Okay.
certain people.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a really good breakdown. Now you make me want to change my answer because if you've seen the first Rush Hour, if you've seen like all the movies, definitely go back and rewatch too.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody that hasn't, like, you could really stop with Rush Hour 1 and be good for the rest of your life.
Yep.
All right.
Paul being a scholar again.
So are you changing your reign? Because once I do mine, you can't go back.
Much like the password on Ricky Tan's nuke laptop, I don't know why. Again, like that laptop scene, just this little Ricky, I broke your laptop. Like, it's so disrespectful. But I'm gonna have to agree with Paul and Solomon because I do
So
think
nostalgic.
it resonates for, like, if you've seen it, it hits. If you haven't, it might not work for you.
Okay. All right.
Nate, I'll give you one with the
totally
DVD player too.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So
They don't even
last
sell those
call
anymore.
for anyone change their reign to something else. Going once, going twice. All right. Here's my final reign, guys. I just enjoyed this movie. I had so much fun
Good.
with it.
Yeah.
So it's a classic for me.
Nice.
It's just like I predicted it to be. I remember this being one of those movies that me and Paul would like watch a lot. And I remember we were so excited when Rush Hour 3. Now, Rush Hour 3, I think, would be the one that probably would dip the most for me. I remember them being like the Eiffel Tower. I think they're in Paris.
I thought it was
maybe?
San Francisco. Well, we'll save that for
Yeah,
the-
we'll say, yeah.
Who is Shai-Shin? Who is Shai-Shin, Paul?
But I probably remember the least about that one. But yeah, I had as much fun with this one. I really liked their characters and how they interacted. The jokes all landed for me. I was laughing. I was enjoying it. So classic for me. But according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we rate Rush Hour 2 a disputed nostalgic film. We'd recommend if you watched it in your earlier years, definitely go back, rewatch. You're gonna have fun. But if you haven't seen it before, probably go back and watch Rush Hour and then decide whether or not you'd want to continue. That'd probably be a good
fair.
a good way to go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But now it's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX?
Comsat online. Receiving incoming transmission.
Feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 2001 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, namely Jared Holzhauer, Deborah Powers, Brian Keene, Patrick Hicks, Chris Cowan, Geek Devotions, The Untold Podcast, James Kennison, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Cronenbitter, Pastor Dewson, Kenneth N, Redeemed Otaku, That's Our Baba, Josh Adams, D. Tungsten, Andy Lewis, Jeff, The Dapper Man Reviews, Tony from the Retro Days, Mr. Lost, Daryl Hafner, Rosie, in addition to 7 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help keep us flying for as little as $1 a month and get bonus content for your generosity, or to just buy some merch of the Retro Rewind Podcast, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to start.
This stream is sponsored by PaulJPowers.com.
And while we're thanking people, we also want to give a big international hug to say thanks to brother Nate Milton and Solomon K for supporting us with their thoughts on Rush Hour 2. So let's start alphabetically with B for brother Nate. Where can people find you online? And is there anything cool you got going on people should know about?
Yes, thanks for having me back, fellas. It feels like it's been too long.
I agree.
Done one of these episodes, so yes, I'm hoping it won't be too much longer before we can talk about
Spider-Man 3
in we got Spider-Man 3 and Rush Hour 3.
Yes,
so we got some big films to talk about, boys. But if you want to hear more from me, you can check me out. I'm in a lot of different places. One of my friends calls me the podcaster supreme because I'm in all these multiverses out here. Find me on Twitter at @8 MOZAIK at Nate Mosaic. My primary podcast is The Kings of Sport, which is a show that's been going on since 2013. Originally, it was myself and Marcus Vanderberg. He's now with ESPN. So now it's me and kind of a rotating cast of folks that want to talk about sports and pop culture. It's a lot of great fun over there. We do have a Patreon. So while you're supporting the Retro Rewind Podcast Patreon, just cross the street. You don't even have to get on a plane to Hong Kong. Just cross the street and go to patreon.com/The Kings of Sport. $5 gets you in the door for over 300 hours of content. Politics, sports, Marvel movies, wrestling, a lot of fun stuff over there. Speaking of wrestling, I'm on Post Wrestling. I have 2 shows on Post. The Rocky Maivia Picture Show, which is a movie review podcast that chronicles the work of Dwayne Johnson.
Nice.
So later this year, we're excited to talk about Black Adam, which is a big movie he's got coming out
Is
this year.
Related to Shazam? I'm still confused about this.
Yep.
A couple months later, the next Shazam movie's coming out.
Okay.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for Black Adam and Rock finally jumping into a superhero film. Yeah. Even though some would argue the Fast and Furious are kind of like superhero films, but I'm not here to debate that. So I've got that on Post. I've also got the NWA podcast, which is the Nubian Wrestling Advocates, which is a show that looks at pro wrestling from the perspective of Black journalists, performers, media members, and fans. So, we've been doing that for about a year on Post, and people have been having a good time with the conversation and being respectful. And again, man, like it's all about, everybody getting a voice in these spaces and talking and having fun with it. The last thing I will promote, because I've got a lot of things to promote. I've got cheap suits too. If you need some, Solomon, they cheap as hell. Just cheap suits and chickens. I got those for sale on the side.
Nice.
But the last thing I'll promote is the DCTV Podcast Network, where I was one of the hosts of the Black Lightning podcast, but now I'm one of the hosts on the Lituation Room, which kind of looks at pop culture and the movies and TV shows. So for all of that, man, just look me up on Twitter at @8 MOZAIK. And again, Francisco and Paul, always a pleasure to link up with you guys. So
awesome.
Yes, let's get on this plane and head to New York and go
let's
watch. Let's go to Madison Square Garden.
Watch the Knicks play.
Watch the Knicks play.
Maybe have a little move shoot.
All right, thank you. And
Solomon SK or Solomon K?
Yeah. So is it Solomon SK or is it Solomon K?
Actually, you know what? It's SK, but I've heard people say K too.
All right, K, how's it going? All right. All right, and Solomon SK, thank you. Where can people find you online? Or is there anything cool you got going on people should know?
I know this was mentioned earlier, but just really quick on the side.
Yeah.
Can we appreciate that we're talking about Rush Hour
Yeah.
and you have an
Yes.
Asian man and a black man on your
Yes.
podcast?
Yeah.
I totally
You
wish I
also
did.
have a
directed
half Mexican man and a Caucasian man. Wait, what? Did I just talk over your joke? I missed it. What did you
No.
say?
I said, and it's directed by a white guy, but then you called yourself Mexican.
Yeah, I have. That's right, Paul. I'm a
So
mutt.
what we're saying is, if there's a crime committed on this podcast, Paul is the guilty party.
Yeah. Except I'm not rich, so follow the money.
Follow the money.
I'll be your lawyer.
Oh, my
I'll
word.
need it.
Oh, wait. No, I'm Isabella. That's who I am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like Snoopy.
Wow.
So,
But I enjoy the multicultural here.
Indeed.
I
indeed.
think that's a great accident, right? No.
Well,
you can find me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, you can find me.
No, I'll keep talking over you, Solomon, because apparently I don't want you to get it worded in edgewise. Please go ahead, Solomon.
You can find me on YouTube. I haven't made any episodes recently, but things are falling into place where I'll be able to crank out more YouTube videos. But you can find me at
Sweet.
Coffee and RPGs and Whiskey and RPGs. That's a second channel that I made not too long ago, and I just pretty much talk about video games. I'll do video game reviews, top 10 video games, mainly RPGs, but it doesn't always pertain to that as well. You can also find me on Twitch on Solomon_SK, and I do the Trinity MMO podcast with Sir Jaziel and Kennethan every Sundays. Although we won't be doing any episodes because Ken's doing a road trip and I got work and stuff like that, so we won't have any content until maybe in August. But yeah, that's our podcast that we do with other fellow believers as well, and we mainly talk about MMOs, and that's going to be every Saturdays at 7 Pacific. So,
And for those that may not know, what does MMO stand for?
massively multiplayer online, and then you attach another like RPG game, first person shooter or whatever, I don't know. And so yeah, it's mainly just about online games. We primarily talk about online role-playing games, but it doesn't always have to pertain to that because you got other games like
role-playing games. I thought you were talking about massively multiplayer rocket propelled grenades. I was
yeah. I mean, we did
but no, awesome, Solomon. Thank you so much for you and Brother Nate being on the show. Thank you so much to my Super Bill, your co-host Paul. Appreciate you all so much. And thank you, awesome rewinders, new or old, for another fun voyage.
You're welcome. And you can find me, pauljpowers.com, at pauljpowers.com.
Whoa, it's like your URL is in the name. And you can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
Who's talking? That's
Wow.
Nathan. And as he just said, we are part of Culture Box Media Network. Find all our shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media. And with that, Captain, we are on final approach to Madison Square Garden.
Thank you, EXO. And thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we got to catch you all for 51st dates, our next episode of the Retro Rewind Podcast.
I forgot about that one.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to nav point Omega and return to base.
I just can't believe you guys. You rated this amazing movie nostalgic. In fact, I'm going to get a bomb right now, and you're just going to go, ah!
He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3.
Good enough.
You want to cut it there and let Solomon go?
Yes, let's go ahead and cut it there. Solomon, thank you so much for coming on. making time for this, and hopefully you have an awesome day at your job.
Thanks. Yeah, I
And-
appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. I actually
Yeah,
had
it's
more
hard-
fun than I was expected, so I appreciate it.
Oh, good. So
It was
glad to
fun
hear
having
that.
you.
I
Yes.
appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to
And
meet you,
we'll-
brother.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I followed you on Twitter and everything, and then definitely keep in touch.
Awesome. I did
Sounds
not.
good, my
No, I
man.
haven't.
All right, thanks, guys. All right,
Thank
I
you,
gotta change these
Solomon.
clothes.
Oh, yeah.
My security uniform.
Oh, no. Do security in that. No one will expect you. It'll be
I
undercover
wish.
security.
I wish.
That would be
right?
too
Like
hot.
Dick Tracy.
That's a good
Anyways.
point. Yeah.
All
it's a
right, thanks,
Tracy.
guys.
All right, bye,
Have a good
Solomon.
one.
Awesome. Yes, huzzah, Ashley. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's
Do the spiritual speculation.
Yeah, let's try to do a bit of spiritual speculation. Then, Brother Nate, we'll let you go, and then me and Paul will do the Firefly
Review.
review. So let me sort of. Do either of you need to use the restroom or anything before we do that?
No, I'm good.
No, Paul.
Let's push through.
All right.
Keep me on the edge. Makes
my
better content.
Yeah, that's what happens. Okay. Welcome, right? Blah. Dang it.
Oh, we're doing spiritual speculations. Okay.
Yeah, spiritual speculation. Oh my gosh, Solomon, with your hamburger command. Welcome, Reflex Capacitors, to another spiritual speculation. This time we're talking about the spiritual themes or promptings that came out of the movie Rush Hour 2, which you can find our review of that at retroreonpodcast.com/254. Sometimes the jokes from there carry over into the spiritual speculation, so it's probably a good idea to listen to that first, but you don't have to. Tonight, we're going to continue the conversation from that with Brother Nate. Solomon SK had to go to work, so he's not going to be here, but me, Paul, and Brother Nate are here. But before we get into the discussion, let's go around real quick and say what our spiritual life was like growing up and what we currently believe today. So my name is Francisco. I was raised a Presbyterian, which is a Christian denomination. Excuse me. And I'm currently a non-denominational Protestant Christian. Let's go with Brother Nate next.
What's going on? This is Brother Nate. Grew up Baptist, primarily Southern Baptist. Father and mother, both in the ministry. Father was a Navy chaplain for 25 years. Mother is currently a Lutheran minister. So got a lot of spiritual and theological talks and advice and just kind of woven into my background. I would say currently I am still a Christian. I'm not as active in a church as I was in my younger days. Still believe, still read the Bible, still pray. So I guess you could say I'm still following the path, even though I'm not in the same car as everybody else.
Gotcha. Okay. Glad you're here, Brother Nate. And Paul, let's see how this goes.
Well, I grew up believing in the dragon protecting all the gold in the cave, and then I discovered that was a fairy tale, but Jesus wasn't. So I've followed him and devote my life to him.
That's amazing, Paul. Wow. Amazing how it's so apropos to this movie. Your journey to faith.
I know. Isn't that weird?
Wow.
I thought that's why you had me on.
Oh my gosh. Awesome, guys. So let's start with Brother Nate. I think you had said you had something sort of cooking in terms of like a spiritual speculation, and just so what you have for us tonight.
Yes, and again, full disclosure for the audience, this just kind of bubbled up in my head when I was watching the film yesterday on my rewatch.
Mine just bubbled up in my head while I was like talking this intro, so that's okay.
So one of the things I like the most about this movie that, we talked about in the review that I wish they would have spent more time on is the relationship between Ricky Tan and Inspector Lee.
Yes.
And Ricky Tan, if spoiler alert, is somebody who was partners with Inspector Lee's dad, betrayed him apparently.
Inspector Lee, by the way, is Jackie Chan in case you
Jackie
haven't
Chan.
seen Rush Hour, but yeah.
Yes, I didn't want to keep calling them Jackie like Chris Tucker did in the outtakes.
Yes.
Kick down the door, Jackie.
Jackie again?
But turns out that Lee had Ricky Tan had a hand in Lee's father's death. And at the end of the movie, Lee has the gun in his hand, pointed at Ricky Tan, and he could take revenge if he wanted to. And I think a lot of people would say it might be justified. But I was thinking from a spiritual standpoint, in terms of when you have been done wrong. And I know there's, scripture about, turning the other cheek and, vengeance, it is for the Lord.
Being God's, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, in that situation, are we to take a lesson from the fact that Jackie Chan, or the fact that Lee did not,
God still,
killed Ricky Tan.
Ricky Tan still dies, but it wasn't directly by Lee's hand.
Right.
Yeah.
It's how Disney villains usually die.
Falling off something at a great height.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I think absolutely. I feel like I think that's one of the things that sort of keeps our heroes, even though I know in old Batman hasn't, for instance, I know that we're not talking about Batman, but Batman has in the past used machine guns and killed people, and it wasn't always his persona that Batman never kills anyone. That's more of a, I want to say, golden age, maybe.
Yeah, that Batman wasn't on Super Friends.
Yes.
Okay, well, yes, exactly. But there was a point where he was killing people, even in the Tim Burton version. He killed Joker's henchmen in that, or at least shot them. And so I think, but for the most part, people tend to prefer heroes that take the high road, because then that's more aspirational for sure. And I think that's just even more biblical too, because we are commanded to.
Well, that's because they have the wrong heroes. Jesus should be their hero.
Well, okay, but not everyone's going to see Jesus.
Well, they should. Sorry, go ahead. Oh, for those people who don't see Jesus as their hero, you should follow superheroes that don't kill people. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they could be, for people that maybe aren't raised in the church or anything, superheroes could be a jumping off point to, I wonder if this is why all these heroes are designed this way or told this way, is that because it does sort of emulate something of Jesus. So that's what I'm referring to, Paul. Not that you should go and worship Superman or something. I'm not trying to say that.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, no problem, Paul. But what you
this
what
message
do you make?
brought to you by the Church of Kal-El.
Oh, but Brother Nate, as you were asking that question, it reminded me of 1 Peter 3:9 that says, "Do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with blessing, because this is what you're called to do, that you may inherit a blessing." Which is so hard in Lee's position,
right?
I don't. You know what? I'm not gonna repay you with evil. I'm gonna be a blessing to you. That is, I mean, talk about loving your enemies. That is hard to do, but that's what we're called to do.
Do you guys? Now, I'm curious in that scene, and just to paint the picture for you guys that may not have seen it before. So Jackie Chan, Inspector Lee, is holding a gun right. He's like holding Ricky Tan up against the wall, has a gun right to his face, and is just debating to pull the trigger while Chris Tucker's character Carter is like, no, let's not do it, Jackie, or let's not do this, Lee. And then Ricky Tan starts bad mouthing and saying how Lee's dad died, like just pleading or whatever, just being really like
shoot him in the mouth.
Yeah, and then Carter's like, just shoot. No one's here but us.
If you're not gonna shoot him, at least do some kung fu.
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious. What do you think the psychology is of Ricky Tan in that moment? Is he like?
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask about Chris Tucker's character there.
No.
Does an immediate 180 of like, nah, save this, and then boom, go.
Yeah.
What makes somebody switch, like even on a political standpoint, to do a 180 so drastically?
Well, that's okay. Let's go into that next. That is a fascinating question. I'm just curious. Do you think Ricky Tan's trying to get like he?
Yeah,
has,
I didn't understand his
overcome
motivation there.
I almost feel like he's either overwhelmed with all the guilt he's done, and he just wants an end to it, and he feels like, okay, let's have this.
It
son
seems to be talking out of arrogance.
He's
He's a good actor.
Okay.
I think Ricky Tan in that moment, again, this is a man who had his laptop destroyed and just laughed about it. Ricky Tan is somebody who feels like he's untouchable, I think.
Yeah.
Where even if Lee, first of all, he doesn't think Lee has the guts or whatever Ricky Tan would say to
I
shoot
agree.
him.
Got it.
But
Okay.
also, if like Jackie Chan or Inspector Lee takes him in, I think Ricky Tan feels like I'm so well connected, I'll be out of jail in a week. So I think he's just like you said, Paul. I think it's just the arrogance, and he's just even
That
in
makes
this
sense.
moment where he should like feel some type of remorse for what he did to Lee's dad. He's like, no, I don't care, and he's taunting him.
See where arrogance gets you, children?
Not in Rush Hour 3.
Not in Rush Hour 3, exactly. Okay, thank you guys. That definitely gives me better perspective on that. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's talk about Carter's 180 flip of going from now let's not do anything rash, Lee, to let's kill him. So where do you feel like that comes from, Paul?
I don't know. It was so abrupt. It seemed like, he's taking the high road here. Now, I know there are things, and I've experienced this in life. It's almost like it's bipolar or something, but there's a trigger that can set you off. And I guess where it's coming from is that you think you're in this area and you're on this mountain, and you see how, you see from your perspective, like, okay, Lee doesn't have to shoot him. He's got him. He doesn't want to get in trouble. And then all of a sudden, his position on his vision switches. So he's like, we're not on this mountain. We're over down here in this valley. We need to get rid of this problem here so we could be, in a better place. So shoot him.
Okay.
I'm thinking that's what's going on there. I'm not sure.
What do you think, Brother Nate?
I think that's part of it. I also feel like when he said, like, Lee, don't do it, he's not worth it. I feel like he's just saying that because that's kind of what you have to say as the good guy in that scene.
Okay. Yeah.
But I feel like his true feelings are probably closer to the second Paul than the
first.
Like, if you asked him point blank, like, should we kill Ricky Tan or not? He's like, shoot him. Yeah. But he does. Also, he didn't want his friend to get in trouble, I think.
Yes.
With because there's so much paperwork Lee would have to fill out if he kills Ricky Tan in cold blood. So I feel like it was part of, I have to say it because I'm a cop, I'm an authority, but also I don't want Lee to get in trouble. But he doesn't really care, because I think he said it earlier, like if he had the chance to find out who killed his father while his father was a cop, he would do the same thing. So I think that there is probably maybe that's something. I'm just thinking about it now. Like maybe if he's putting himself in Lee's shoes.
Exactly.
If he had a chance to catch his daddy's killer, he might hesitate at first, but if the killer started trash talking, it would be over for if that was Lee. I mean Carter with the gun.
Yeah, that's exactly where what I was thinking is that because Ricky Tan starts bad mouthing Jackie's father, that's what triggers the switch, because he lost his dad to a gangbanger. I think he said that's what it was, or someone that just didn't want a ticket, and so. Yeah, it's his own way of sort of like putting his own pain on, like seeing Jackie in the similar situation. Now Jackie has a chance to sort of make things right, so to speak, which he wishes he could do, to go find that person that killed his dad. So I think that's why the flip happens, is because it is so personal, and he can put himself in Jackie's place so easily because of that shared history and how they both had their dads were both cops and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Brother Nate hit it on the head when he said that Chris Tucker is trying to be the good cop. It's kind of like, look, there's a higher standard that you're trying to meet, but how you really feel underneath is something's going to trigger that. It's going to come out.
Yeah.
And I think that's a relatable, kind of bringing it back to faith. I think that's a relatable feeling where
absolutely,
we are called to be on a higher standard. We are called to, not meet anger with anger, but it's hard. It's hard sometimes.
We always fall short, for sure. I'm curious. So a few people from chat are chiming in here. Dale says, talking about Batman. Batman left a dude on fire in Batman Returns. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, don't forget in Batman 66 that didn't he sneeze on the chemicals of the the diplomats, and like,
Oh,
there's no
yeah.
way
Yes.
they're coming back from that.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, that ended up working out though, because everybody had to work together, and it was
No,
like
but the henchmen, I forgot the henchmen in the Batcave. They kind of disappeared.
Yeah,
and,
they
and
disappear and they're
and
never
Yes.
blew up.
back.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
they ain't
How
coming
about
back.
the dehydrated diplomats?
Yeah. Anyway, yes.
Dale says Ortana's taken out of criminal element in the near future. Yeah, he would have been, but I mean, he fell off the thing. And Solomon says, "Oh man, next time if there is one, I'd love to save for these types of combos." Yeah, of course, Solomon. Yeah, I get that you had work.
Next time.
Yeah, next
Next
time
time.
for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Much like Terrence Howard looking at the Iron Man suit. Next time, baby.
Oh, so
Oh,
sad.
yeah.
That's tragic.
Oh man. I mean, Don Cheadle's good as War Machine, but yeah, there's something
Yeah.
about. Did we haven't
Terrence
covered
Howard.
Iron Man? Have we?
No,
talked?
we
I
haven't.
feel like we've talked about that at some point because that sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
I think the three of us have talked about it, because I love both actors. I think Don
Yes.
Cheadle's a better actor.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do think Terrence Howard fit better
The
for
bolt
me
mold,
as
yeah.
Rhodey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But going back to
Absolutely.
Don Cheadle in Rush Hour 2,
Yes.
an interesting story is that Brett Ratner liked Don Cheadle and he wanted him in the movie. He didn't know what role or anything, so he asked him, and Don Cheadle, it's to his surprise, said yes, but only if I could speak Chinese and fight Jackie Chan.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes.
right. That's right.
And Brett Ratner was like, "Yeah, we can make that happen." I'm like, I'm thinking, how do you make that happen? But they did.
Right. They did.
Yeah.
They did. You're a black
it's a
man. It's a
short
Chinese
scene, but it
restaurant
worked.
on Crenshaw.
I'll shoot you in the kitchen and say you fell.
You
Oh,
know Tiger
man.
Style? Yes, I studied
Wow.
under Master Jing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Freddie Jing, his cousin.
They're brothers. Oh,
They're
all
brothers.
Right, all right.
Right, hanging around
what-
7-Eleven.
With 7-Eleven, yeah, exactly. Okay, before we just quote the rest of the movie, Solomon also says, "True, these days movies and TV shows have characters that are morally obscure. Breaking Bad, Peaky
Peaky
Blinders. I don't know
Yeah.
what that is.
It's a
I've
TV
heard
show.
of that. Haven't seen it.
You don't have like morally outstanding characters like in Russia. Yeah, morally outstanding. Carter, absolutely, and Lee, yes. Oh yeah, good characters are totally boring. I don't like good characters. No, I see what you're saying though, Solomon. I feel like you can have a good character that has ambiguity, that struggles. Like, I mean, Carter does have a moment of struggle. It's like, no, this is like you guys were both saying. I'm sort of like, I have this sense of this is the right thing, so this is what I'm going to act. But as soon as something hits my flesh of pain, I'm gonna act out, or
Yeah.
something hits me in terms of
No
pain, I'm gonna act out my
self-control.
flesh.
Sure.
Yeah,
But it's also his character is written that way.
Well,
I think,
yes.
yeah.
of course. But awesome. That's a great moment to talk about, Brother Nate. Thank you for bringing that up. Any other thoughts on any of that or anything else? Mine is way. I don't know about bringing mine up. It's just okay. Thanks, Ralph Macchio. Okay, so here's mine, guys.
You want to talk about public nudity?
No, actually, not at all.
Yeah. Why is the rear end considered nudity sometimes when we all have a rear end? Anyway.
Good point. But no, I'm gonna. Here's my question. Let's see if the stream gets shut down.
That's going to get worse. Okay, here we go.
So Ricky Tan and
Tan.
Reigns are making these super bills, essentially just printing off all this money, so they can circulate in with the real money and launder it, so that they can get real money.
With Ratner's
using all this
help.
fake money,
In
yes,
real
with
life.
Ratner's help. So all those extras can walk off the set with these in dog we trust bills. Okay, so how is that so much different from the government printing off a bunch of extra money that will cause inflation? I'm just curious.
Well,
what is the difference?
The difference is in episode 1, Phantom Menace. I will make it legal.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
No,
Thank you,
seriously, it's that. It boils down to that.
Paul. So okay.
It's like murdering people is wrong, but you go back to Germany in 1939, it's legal to kill Jews. So
Okay. So then okay, so then there's the legality, but
Sure.
then there's the ethic.
There's no ethics here.
ethicality?
It's who's ever in charge.
What's the thing of that? Where's the ethics of it or the morality of it? So let's talk about that aspect because the
Are you
legality
talking about
side is-
the morality of economics, or what is your question?
Well, like I said, I just was formulating this as I was doing the intro to spiritual speculation. So give me a second. Why don't you read Dale's comment while I'm thinking about this, Paul?
He says, "Say yes to Spawn, the character that's created by Todd McFarlane. Dude could rip your arms out of your sockets or drop a car on you, but just rather shoot you multiple times with both guns." So I don't understand what he's talking about. I don't know why you had me.
Oh,
read that.
because we're talking about heroes that are ethically ambiguous. Like Spawn is a hero, but he'll kill people. Like,
I
almost like
I never
Batman.
considered him a hero. Maybe an anti-hero like Punisher.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah. I guess my question is
Aren't
more to
villains
do.
anti-heroes?
No.
Are they anti-heroes?
Yeah. Which is a hero.
Is it? I'm really fumbling for how to bring this economic question into a morality question. Maybe it's not moral. I mean, the only verse that really comes to mind is
Pay
Jesus
unto
saying,
Caesar.
"Pay Caesar
Yeah.
what is due Caesar, and pay God what is due God."
Right.
All right. Well, here's a question.
Yeah. Should you start your own cryptocurrency and pay your taxes with that?
Speaking of which, buy the new Retro Rewind podcast NFT coming out next month.
Yeah, exactly. I have considered doing NFTs of the Pixar, but we're not gonna get into that. Here's a legitimate question. If let's say we've committed to God, I will pay you $100 every paycheck. That is what I feel like I'm called to do. I'm committed to paying you $100 every paycheck. Then the Federal Reserve pumps in a ton of extra money. That $100 is now essentially worth, let's say, $7.
That's why tithe is based on percentage.
I know, but I'm just saying because some people can decide in their hearts. The old woman gave her last 2 coppers. That wasn't 10% of her income. She
But
decided
Jesus
in
again
her-
was complimenting on her percentage, not how much she gave.
Did he?
Yes.
Did he? What was the percentage he said?
Like all of it, 100%. It's not about the 2 little coins she gave. It's about the percentage of how much she gave.
So would you say, if I continue to
Jesus
just give
would
that, if Jesus said, no, I'm asking for your guys' opinion on this. This is spiritual speculation. You can bring in, I think this is what Jesus would say about this. That's fine.
Okay.
But I'm
How
hearing
much
you-
is Jesus coins
I want
worth?
your
I don't know.
opinions.
Okay.
You say, I'm going to give $100, God. I feel like that's what I'm called to do. Then my $100 is now technically not worth $100 anymore. It's worth $70.
Because of inflation.
Because of inflation. Does God, would you say God or Jesus looks upon that as now you're not really giving what you should be giving? You should be adding more to actually give what would be $100 in, let's say, gold, as opposed to just, because I mean, that could go all the way to like, now there's so much money in the thing that's really just worth, you're really just giving $1. And so if you're giving your money to help the poor or the church or whatever, that $1 is not really going anywhere. Or that $100 you're giving, that's really just worth
Brother
$1
Nate, I
worth.
have an answer, but I'll let you have the first stab at it if you want.
I think this is interesting, and it leads me to a side question that I'll ask in a little bit. But I feel like and this kind of goes along with what Paul was saying about the percentage, but I think the intent is maybe more important than the amount.
Yeah, absolutely.
In
Like
that-
your heart and where your heart
Right.
is.
Well, and
yeah.
it's all circumstantial. Like if we've got a rich white guy follow the money, Paul J. Powell. like if Paul gives $1,000, versus me giving $1,000, that again we're talking about percentage and intent and where's your heart at. And so I think speaking for Jesus, and it's not something I tend to do often or am even equipped to do, but I think it's about what's in your heart. Like, what are you doing it for the right reasons? Because there are some people, and that's another question. Because some people like to give and be beneficial and donate, but it's for the show. It's for the gratitude. It's for the applause, the kudos. So it's money's going to help people, but are you doing it for the right reasons? There's a lot of things in here when you try to bring ethics and morality into money, Paul, and I don't think it's ever a straight answer.
Yeah, that's a good
well.
point.
Here's my straight answer.
It's never a straight answer except when Paul J. Powers is on the job.
.com. All right.
Yes.
And this is, and you ask, what would God say? And, I don't know. I could be wrong, but this is what I think he would say. Sure, and I'm not speaking on behalf of him, so don't cut my head off. But it would be like God. I feel like God would say, okay, go back and research the scriptures. Your premise was all wrong. Every time that God has asked people to give money, it's always based on a percentage. So you saying $100, that's fine for back then. But what is the percentage that is really being called, and work that out?
Okay.
Again, go back to the percentage. Go back to the tithe.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Okay. That's fair. Because, but I'll even double back and go in with what Brother Nate was saying, is that let's say, I know it's not a percentage, but let's say it was $100 and that did eventually become essentially worth $1. If that's all you could give, then God would recognize.
Is that a one-time thing or going forward? Like maybe it's time to reevaluate your contract and negotiate.
I get that. I think that should all. That's why I think a percentage makes way more sense.
And absolutely. So I would say this question even coming up is a prompting that you do need to look at that contract that you had with God and reevaluate.
This was me. This wasn't me actually having a conflict of conscience. This is me being more frustrated at inflation and pumping money into the economy. But and I felt like that was similar because that's kind of what they're doing with making all this funny money.
So speaking of the funny money, so let me ask you this, Francisco. So let me throw this out there on the table to you and Paul. So obviously, what's the guy's name? Simon Peter, like Raines.
In the movie,
Simon Reigns.
Jeez, that's
Reigns. No, that's
another.
Oh my gosh,
Roman Reigns.
I'll find it here in a second.
Yes, but Reigns and Ricky Tan, they're running this counterfeit operation.
Yes.
So we know they were using the money for
Stephen
Reigns, yes, because he was like, the casino guy. So
yes,
we know their intent, their reason for having this money is for ill.
Mm-hmm.
If let's say the three of us, are running a smuggling ring, or not a smuggling ring because that's evil, but the three of us are counterfeiting money. But we're counterfeiting
I thought we were doing that.
I mean, the feds are listening.
I mean, we're not. Yeah, if yes, of course, if.
Now we got to smash your laptop like Ricky. The evidence. But let's say we run a counterfeiting ring, but we use all the money that we counterfeit to help people, like.
Like Robin Hood almost.
Yes. Is there
the ends
ever
justify
a right
the
time?
means.
Right. Is there ever a right time to do the wrong thing for the right reason?
I would to answer that. I would say yes.
Really? I feel like that's too utilitarian.
I just asked Rahab.
Oh my gosh, we're going to this again.
But that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Well, I should say, if people don't know who Rahab is, she lied to save the lives of the Jews running away in the Old Testament, the spies.
Yeah.
And it was counted her lie was counted to her as credit as righteousness. Yeah. So
this is a popular thing that Paul brings up
because it just blows my mind. It's hard for my mind to wrap around it. So that's why I was like, I'm not going to say anymore because it gets convoluted in my head and I'm sure other people's, but I think there are situations where I know they say like, oh, I have a choice between two evils. And some people are like, well, don't do either. There's always a choice. Like, and I feel like sometimes there isn't, you know,
you have to choose the lesser of two evils.
Right.
And so, okay. Oh man, this is a great question, Brother Nate, by the way. Here's, because now I'm really reassessing because I've been very like, for a while now, I don't really know when this started, but I've been very anti to the ends ever justifying the means. Like there's there's never a situation you should always seek.
But God allows
to-
sin in the world to justify the means of those he wants to save.
Okay.
So the
Can I
ends
finish?
justifies the means.
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
So, from a human perspective, I feel like it's way too. It's almost like the One Ring of Power. You guys are familiar with Lord of the Rings, One Ring of Power. Everyone thinks I can use the power for good.
Okay.
I think that's what the mindset of, you know what, the ends here is good enough to justify the means. If I kill enough people, then I'll have my golden age. If I'll Thanos snap enough people, then everyone else will be great. Okay. I have the intellect. I have the wisdom. I technically have the hubris to think that I know what's best to make everything better for everyone who survives or the people that are left or what have you.
Okay.
I think that's I think sometimes, I think you need God's wisdom in order to make those actual judgments, because maybe there are times where, yes, the ends would justify the means, that this horrible thing has to happen. Like something horrible in my life happened in the last couple years, and it brought about this amazing thing that happened. So God is the only one that really has the wisdom to know how those things happen, though. We don't. I think it's too easy for us to take a ends justifies the means ethos, and it's so easily corruptible that I feel like it's just too dangerous. It's like that One Ring. It's too dangerous to have. Every once in a blue moon, every once in a Rahab, it'll work. But I feel like it's too dangerous to be like, well, it worked that one time. I'm sure it'll work for me this time too.
Yeah.
That's my thought on it.
It's interesting because in order to achieve peace, historically, you have to rule with an iron fist. Now,
and Jesus is going to rule with an iron.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah.
In Revelations 2:27, it talks about Jesus ruling with an iron scepter. It's like and most people today would say, "Oh, ruling with an iron fist is not good. It's not of God." But yet, it is. If you read in like I said, Revelation 2:27, where that the ends justify the iron scepter or the peace justifies the iron scepter there. So the peace on earth.
Yeah.
So people would say, well, there's no
reason
mean the iron
to rule.
No, the rules. There's no need to rule with an iron scepter. There's no reason to justify for it. But God says, well, in order to have peace, he will rule them, or for the people to follow him, he will rule them with an iron scepter, which is controversial, but I'm just putting that out there.
Okay. I mean, here's where I feel
it's also in Ezekiel 20:33, where God says he will rule the Israelites with an iron fist.
I think we're getting a little.
You brought up ends justify the means. So I'm just
no, and that's fair. I'm saying I'm about to get a little tangential.
Oh, you're about to make it worse. Okay.
Yeah, I'm making it worse. I wonder if that's the way what we bring to the text in that, because I almost wonder if that's more about that's showing God's authority and power over all things. That's a symbol of that, as opposed to that's how he's going to keep people in line. It's more about that just shows that he is able to rule over all things, and that's a symbol of that authority. And then we have chosen to live under that authority because we know he's righteous in using that iron scepter.
I'm gonna have to disagree with
that's
you.
Fine.
There.
All right, that's fine.
It's kind of I look at it just as okay. It's kind of like God sets up these barriers to keep us safe. And if we go beyond these barriers, we're going to get hurt. And so people could be like, well, he could be more lenient beyond those barriers. But then those people who are hurt unjustly, it's almost a slap to them of how things are ruled. If you rule with too much grace, people are going to be upset, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's going to be hurting parties that don't feel like they're justified. So it's out of justice, God's holiness and justice, that he will, I think, rule with it.
Yeah. So how does that go against what I said?
What did you say?
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Nobody understands the words coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh my word. let's see if I can recapture this. I think I was trying to say that the iron rod is a symbol of God's authority, and that we
That's
are
right.
choosing to live under that authority. He will use it justly because he is God. It's not like he has to. We make it out of line, so he has that iron rod just to make sure we stay in line.
I misunderstood. I thought you were saying it's more of a symbol rather than action.
Well, I don't think he. I think it is symbolic of.
I
his
thought you were on
authority.
Team Smote You. What?
I feel like I don't. I think. I don't, I'm
I
trying
feel
to
I
think if it's
think
a feeling or a thought.
Either way, it leads
Yeah.
me to go in this direction.
Yeah,
Of that God, that it's just like a symbol of.
I don't think it's just a symbol. He can use that iron rod to make things right and justice and be just and to rule justly. I don't think us in the new heaven and new earth being made righteous through his sacrifice, that choose to trust in him and trust him as our Lord and Savior, will be on the receiving end of that iron rod. Is what I think that's what I'm trying to get at. It's there. It's not just a symbol, but it's more. But to us that have trusted in him, it's more symbolic of just his authority, as opposed to now I'm living in fear of getting hit by the iron rod, so that's why I'm choosing to live under him because I don't want to get hurt. Does that make sense?
Well,
Paul?
and that's fair if you say like the everlasting hell, fire, and damnation doesn't apply. But it's the rod and the staff that comforts us. It's the rod of correction and the staff that guides. So it's like, oh, I'm only here for the staff. The rod doesn't apply to me.
Let me put it to you this way, Paul. As far as I know, and I'm no like medieval, and actually, Brother Nate, I've been like bogarting all this. What are your thoughts on this? You brought this up, but I thought let's have you have some time to share your thoughts on all this.
Well, I think there's been a couple interesting things brought up. I think, going back a few steps to what you said about the ends justifying the means, and who is qualified to make that decision.
Yeah.
I think that's a really excellent point, because the truth is most of us aren't qualified to make that choice.
I mean, I am. But most people aren't. I get that.
I can see why he was mad. Like even in our best moments, we're still human.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
we still have thoughts and emotions and biases that can cloud our judgment. And so, but I do like what Paul was saying about Rahab, and I think particularly if you look through a lot of those kind of Old Testament stories, you will see flawed people doing heroic things.
Yeah.
Even going back to like Samson is one of my favorite stories. Samson had so many faults and so many relatable human traits, but in the end, he was able to be of service to God.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's hard because there's levels to it. And so then when we get to what you guys are talking about in terms of, the rod versus the staff / the rod and the staff, it's you can't really have one without the other.
Yeah.
I think the difference is, what is your relationship with the person holding the rod and the staff? Because that to me, and I can kind of relate it to growing up with my parents. So when you get in trouble, sometimes you get the talk, sometimes you got the belt, depending on what you did and what the severity of it was. But there was never there was not a fear of the belt so much as a healthy respect. For the belt, which made you pay attention to the words more, because you're like, okay, if I don't listen, I could get in trouble. I could, I could put my sister in jeopardy. And then
I could get the belt.
I could get the belt. Exactly. So I think it's not an either or, it's an all and, where it's like you need both in order to have peace. Like you were saying, Paul.
Yeah.
We got here from Rush Hour 3.
Right?
Rush Hour 2. We got here from Ricky Tan's laptop lady.
I'll share some things from chat. Let's see. Actually, this is funny first. Dale says, it took Elijah 12 hours to drop a ring. Yep, seen that. Yes, okay. Elijah Wood, a.k.a. Frodo. Let's see. Ashley says, God works all things for good. I see that what he has done in my life, and he is so good. Which Dale responded, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. And that's I mean, I feel like, because God, brought this up earlier, Paul, that God allows all this suffering, and that's funny that's even the main theme of the message at church this morning, at my church. God does allow all this suffering in the world.
The problem with pain.
The problem of pain, that's the C.S. Lewis book. And that's always going to be, that always sort of like spurs, pricks. I don't know what the
what'd you call me? The rich white man?
Oh my gosh.
Follow the money.
That's something that pricks at us, or that's it's hard for us to take, because it's so easy to be like, God's so good. If he's so good, why has he put me into this position where I'm suffering? But God does have that ultimate wisdom that is able to make the ends justify all these suffering moments that we have to go through. And really, like us three, we're going to sit down for a couple hours, talk about a movie. I mean, that is such a blessing for me. I hope you guys feel the same, but it's such a blessing for me to get to talk to you guys, have fun, joke around, enjoy the nostalgia of this movie, get to talk about, spiritually speaking, about what we found in it, and what a blessing that is. Even, things may not be going perfectly in our lives in every situation, but there is so much to be thankful for. So at least I find I have a lot to be thankful for. So, I feel like that's a good way to sum things up. But if either of you had any other thoughts or questions or anything else from Rush Hour 2 you want to talk about, we can bring that up before we close. So give you any closing thoughts or anything. Go for it.
I guess my last thing, and a little bit, because this movie is a lot about sons and fathers. So as a tip of the cap to my dad, because one of the things I always, and it's probably, if I go back and look, it's probably found its way into my podcasting. Is he would, when it was his Sunday to give a sermon, or sometimes when he was on the ships, and me and my sister would help him set up for chapel, he would find a way to turn something that was in the movies or on TV or on the radio into his message to kind of hook, particularly like the young sailors.
Okay.
Like I think at one point, like Wild Wild West, the Will Smith movies out. Sometimes we in the wild, wild west in our lives, and we need somebody, to like he was very good at kind of weaving in and out. So
that's awesome.
As a tip of the cap to him, I would just say to anybody listening or watching, sometimes in life, particularly the last 2.5 years in America, in the world, even really when you think about the pandemic. It can feel like you're in the middle of rush hour.
Yeah.
But just remember who's in control of the wheel.
Yeah.
And no matter how bad the traffic is, no matter what accidents you might pass, no matter what detours you kind of have to go through, just remember that there is somebody who is guiding you and will help you reach your destination.
Absolutely. That's a great way to end. Thank you so much, Brother Nate. Thank you so much, Paul. Appreciate you, everyone here in chat, Dale, Ashley, everyone else for being here. Thank you all so much. And for Brother Nate, for Paul, and for myself, we bid you all shalom.
That means peace.
Don't nobody understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, man.
That's great, Paul. Okay, so we're going to end. We aren't going to end. Brother Nate, we're going to let you go. Me and Paul are still going to do the Firefly part. I almost forgot about that.
Firefly.
Exactly. Or because you said, wait, Am I misremembering?
I haven't watched.
Okay.
I'm aware of Firefly, and I've probably seen an episode here or there, but I'm not deep into the Firefly mythology.
Mythos. Okay. No worries.
Yes.
No worries. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the awesome conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And always a good time.
So wonderful to have you back.
So fun having you. I
We'll
hope.
have to make
I
sure
hope we
not a whole year and a half before we talk again.
Right. Let's see if we can figure out do a Rush Hour 3, Spider-Man 3
Spider-Man
back to
3.
back or something because that'd be
So,
fun.
quick question before I leave. So, do Sundays normally work for you guys in terms of?
Not usually.
Okay. 'Cause I was gonna say just Fridays. This worked out better for me than a Friday, but but I wouldn't want to.
Well, we are willing
inconvenience
to move.
Yeah. Every
case
so
being
often we
deployed.
can do that. We just don't want to make that the normal.
Right,
We're
right.
always choosing a different day or something.
Just
But Fridays don't work for you. Don't feel bad because we will pick another day. That's fine.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
My
flexible.
new job, new. It's since last winter, so it's not too new. But it's the way they've got me scheduled. The Friday before I got hurt, my foot hurt. I would have been able to make it, but I would have been basically speeding in through the door because I don't get off of work till 8:30, 8:45. So I would have been speeding through the. And it's just I don't want to do the show at a level less than. What
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
We want you
It's
to
better
bring your
do it
A.
more
You
relaxed
have
and
sir have an A game, and we appreciate you bringing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to show up. I don't want to. I'd rather be Chelsea Clinton than Kelsey Graham.
Exactly.
But yeah, this was a lot of fun, guys.
Absolutely, brother. Go enjoy your gefilte fish, and we'll talk to you later.
I think to coach your meal.
Bye, brother Nate.
Bye.
I actually said A+, brother Nate. That's so nice. So you just closed the browser, brother. Yeah,
there you go.
All right.
All right, Paul. Let's get this going, huh?
Oh my gosh. All right. It's going to be your favorite time, favorite part of the podcast, Paul. Do you have a way to lead into Firefly since I'm going to have to cut this sort of strangely?
So at the end of our show notes, there is a transition, but
okay, cool. I haven't looked yet, so hold on. I'll just getting up.
It's not my A game. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So he just said, "Oh, he won't be in Rush Hour 3," and then a man finds his demise reminds me of a ballad of a man they call. Oh well, no. Okay.
It reminds me of. It's not a.
No, I get that because he pushed. Let's see. All right, do you want to do the transition, or do you mind if I do it? 'Cause
No,
I feel
you can.
I can wing that fairly well. Okay.
I don't know. Or if you come up with something better.
No, I got it.
Okay. There's something wrong with my eye.
My gosh.
Keeps twitching.
All right. Ready? 3, 5, 4. That is weird.
I know. Should I turn it off if it bothers you?
It's fine for me, but it
Okay.
doesn't really look like Nathan Fillion, so I don't know what you're really adding
think
by
it
having this
does.
lazy eye. All right, fine. 3,
But
2, 1. I can't believe they tossed me out that window. Makes me think of that one time Jane Cobb tossed out that one guy from the plane in that one episode of Firefly. Janestown. I remember that episode fondly. In fact, I'd like to talk about it.
Ship like this, be with you to the day you die.
Retro.
Because it's a death trap.
The pod of rewind.
Pretty cunning, don't you think?
They were robbed of time, young indie made them poor. Burnt out on dullness, what was it all for? With Firefly now, what reviews will they find? The hero of time, retro of rewind.
We gotta go to the crappy town where I'm a hero.
And finally, Paul knows where that song comes from. See? Isn't it perfect? Isn't it
No,
perfect?
it's not. Oh, sorry, folks.
I know I'm a little pitchy at the beginning, but I get
at the
better as the
beginning.
song goes.
Those are high notes. That in this episode, he does not get that high. Like it's
I have a different range, so there you go. Anyway,
yeah.
Welcome, guys, to another installment of our review of Firefly as we make our way to the movie Serenity, which will be our Christmas episode this year. But we are watching every month. We try to watch an episode of Firefly, working up toward that. Paul, what is the episode this time that we're going to be reviewing?
This time, it's the one you've been waiting for, episode 7, called Jamestown. It was first...
Jamestown.
Sorry.
Not Jamestown.
Not Jamestown. Jane, like in Jetsons, his wife named Jane.
Yeah, the same, exactly.
Anyway, it was this episode first aired in October 18th, 2002. You want to give us a one-sentence recap of this episode plot-wise?
Yes. The crew of Serenity comes to a planet to do a deal. Turns out the crewmate Jane is a hero, local folk hero of the town that they're trying to get this cargo from, and that causes an issue. A moral conflict is because he wasn't really a hero, even though he became one to the townspeople.
Okay.
I love my captain.
Thank you, Kaylee. So let's go, and so it's just gonna be me and Paul this time. Brother Nate and Solomon had to jet, but we will give our likes and dislikes of this episode. Paul, why don't you kick us off? What's something you liked about this? And we can do a couple if you have more than one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I only came with one each in my revolver. So
fine.
You can do a couple, but
all right.
The thing that I like most about this episode was at the very end, the last scene, Jane is recounting how the person sacrificed their life for him so that he could live.
Mm-hmm.
And in the background is the Ballad of Jane,
the hero of Canton. Yeah.
Yes, but it's playing in a lower key, and it's by like guitar. It's very
acoustic. Yeah, it's very somber.
Yes, exactly,
Yes.
and has a nice tone and touch. It helps pull the heartstrings at that moment. I thought it was really well done to have that music the way they did it right there.
Absolutely. Okay, a couple of things I liked, and you feel free to jump on any of these if they resonate with you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. I like that the idea of this man that is no one would think to be a hero. He's always out for himself, just out of a misunderstanding becomes the hero. I imagine that's happened in stories. I just can't think of one off the top of my head, but I just thought that was a really interesting idea. And that it almost causes Jane to want to live into that. Like at first he's like really taken aback by it, but then after he thinks about it, he's like, maybe I want to be the hero to these people, and I don't want to take advantage.
Take advantage of all their free stuff they were giving him.
He did at first, but by the end, he's saying to Mal that I don't think it's right that we're using my fame to sort of hoodwink these people or what have you. And I thought that you could definitely see character growth in the end, that he's like really struggling, that this kid got in the way of him dying just so that he would live, even though he isn't really worth, he's not the hero that they think they are. Like if they really knew why they got all the money, they probably wouldn't be taking a bullet for him. But I like that he had to struggle with that and actually think about that. I don't know if that comes up so much in later episodes, like this character moment for him. At least there's no clear reference to it that makes me think, oh, this is what he learned from that. So that's a little sad. Even in the movie, I don't think you really have that. But I really like that. I really love the song. I think that's so cool that there's a whole song that we get to hear in this.
Every episode we review, we get to hear a rendition of it.
Yep. I also, man, could Kaylee and Simon just get to a point? I know that once they're in a relationship, you lose some of the drama of that will they, won't they? But they get so close, and then Simon's just like, with Kaylee, no. Oh, wait, that's more dislikes. Never mind.
I was about to say, I'll have more to say on that later.
Okay. But I think that's I have a couple dislikes now that I think about it. But I do like those elements. I mean, I always just love the crew. I love the treatment it wasn't perfect, but the treatment of the Bible and how faith, it's not about you fixing the Bible, but that the Bible and faith fix you. I think that was actually pretty legit. So I enjoyed that aspect of it.
Again, I'm gonna have to disagree.
All right. Tell me why you disagree and go into your disagreements with this episode, Paul.
Oh, or let's go into the disagreements. Okay, or the things that I didn't like about this episode.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I may have only had one like, but hold on, buckle your seatbelts, folks.
Do you have 5-point hardness for this?
Oh, you need more than 5 for this. Let's
Wow.
see. It starts off with Kaylee trying to convince somebody it's all right to swear, which is going to go against me because I don't think it's so. But then once Simon, the person who she had an interest, and then has like not only like has insulted her likes and her advances towards him. Then he gets hit, and I complimented her on one of them previous episode. In fact, she was one of my favorite. She was my favorite characters for realizing what a jerk he was, and realizing that's probably not for her. She does a total 180. As soon as he gets hit in the mouth or something. She leans down and calls him honey and picks him up and is like all caring towards him. She regresses in a way that I think is just not good towards her character.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I think Mal is being an idiot for waiting till noon the next day to sneak cargo when it's nighttime that night. They could sneak cargo that very night.
They don't know where it is. They can't see it. It's camouflaged pretty well.
No, they have the time. Oh, you know what? Let's instead. Here's something else. You bring certain people. You have a job to do. Let's. We can't find the cargo we're supposed to pick up. Let's all go get drunk. On a mission. This is not a layaway mission. This is not vacation time. It's not the time to go get drunk. And yet you have Kaylee and the doctor and all these people.
They're trying to fit
getting
in.
drunk. No, they are not on shore leave. They are here for a mission.
All right.
This is not.
That's fair.
And Jane is being an idiot for yelling at his adoring fans and not being grateful. And then let's see. Trying to get an adult to lose his virginity is one of the key plot points in here.
I'm in agreement with you on this. Yes.
And all that is just the payoff for that is so that this guy who loses his virginity can basically step into his own and escape this made up thing that they call landlocking the ship out of convenience to make the story worth it. So it's all contrived, it's all made up and not worth it, in my opinion.
All right.
River saying that the Bible is wrong, and then going back to what you said about the Rev saying, well, it's not about wrong, it's about faith. Well, that's great. You can have faith in any fairy tale. It doesn't.
But the context is the Bible.
No,
the context is the Bible.
No, he says it's not about the Bible being. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about faith. So it's throwing the Bible away and putting all the trust in faith, which is based.
You're
misinterpreting.
I'm gonna play the scene for you just to prove you wrong right now. Here we go. You will all see in real time as YouTube and Twitch shuts me down for copyright, so that I can prove Paul wrong. Here we go. Hold on, I need to find the part. Yes, okay. After the Earth is used up. Okay, yes.
Okay, for that copyright.
Oh wait, are you?
That was me. I was just trying to get like something to kill the time. I was going to play the theme song, but that might get us kicked off. I don't know. Well, we're reviewing it, so let's play it.
There you go.
It's fair use because we're reviewing.
My land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care. I'm still free.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right, I don't have the whole theme song yet, but the tip.
You don't? Take me out to the back.
Me, Smalls.
Tell them I ain't coming back. Burn the land and board the sea. You can't take the sky from me. Okay, so I found the part. It's gonna be more than what we were thinking. I mean, I had to start a little sooner just because I'm not gonna be able to finagle it that easily. But let me share my screen here. Just you wait, Paul. Just you wait.
Well, my interpretation.
I will
I will say
await
this.
your like,
We-
oh, you know
we
what,
can both
Francisco?
have
You're right.
interpretations that differ. My interpretation is it's not about being right or wrong, it's about faith. Well, right or wrong is based on God. He determines what's right or wrong. So he's saying it's not about God. It's about having faith in something that makes you a better person.
All right, this isn't going to show it because they have some like they do
yeah.
have a landlock type thing, but
Yeah,
I can share my audio.
right.
So this should play even though you won't be able to see it, and I'll share my screen even though you won't be able to see it. At least I don't think you'll be able to. So I'm playing it. Thumbs up if you can hear this, Paul.
11 times, but always comes out 1.
Okay. So
Noah's Ark is a problem.
River's talking
We'll
to
have to
Shepherd
call it
Boy.
early quantum state phenomenon. Only way to fit 5,000 species of mammal on the same boat.
She tears out a page of the
Give
Bible.
me that.
He takes the Bible.
River, you don't fix the Bible.
Don't fix the Bible.
It's broken. It doesn't make sense.
It's not about making sense.
It being the Bible.
It's about believing in something.
That, okay.
And letting that belief be real enough to change your life. It's about faith.
It being the Bible.
You don't fix
No, it's about anything.
No, he went with something, but then he went back to it, which the subject was the Bible before.
It's about faith.
Yeah, it being the Bible.
No.
It is a stand-in word
No.
for the Bible.
Let's agree to disagree.
All right, fine.
I'm glad that was all worth it.
That was totally worth it. I agree. It was completely worth it. Okay.
But that wasn't the thing that I hated most.
Okay, what did you hate? Actually, let me go with the thing I hated most before you get there.
That wasn't the thing I hated most.
Okay. Well, the thing I hated most was really just like you. It's the thing you mentioned before. This whole concept, and I get that they're trying to show these people as sort of backward, or the father of the magistrate of this land being just like really sort of despicable, that he can't stand that his son hasn't had sex, and that's a really sad state to be in, and that's what makes you a man. But I don't like so I don't like the sense that his son, that he sleeps with Anara, who's a companion, sort of like a geisha or high-end prostitute, you could say. So they sleep together, and then she's the one that tells him that that's not what makes you a man, is being with someone, which is true. But I just wish he learned that from some other from somewhere else. And him being disobedient to his dad doesn't make him a man either, because that's what he ends up doing. I guess I'm a man now. You want me to be a man? Well, that's not it either. So you're wrong on all the fronts.
Yeah.
Go ask Shepherd Book and have him tell Paul that he's talking about the Bible. Okay.
Knowing the writers of the show, I would disagree.
Yes, of course. What was your
my
worst
tragic
thing?
maker for this episode? Okay, for those people who haven't seen it in a while, like 4 years or so ago, Jane visits this planet, and he has a partner, and his forgotten partner's name.
It's Stitch Hickens, something like that.
No, Higgins is the magistrate's name.
Okay.
Oh, Stitch. Stitch is
Stitch. I'll look it up, but
no,
not
it's
that
Stitch.
important.
Okay.
Okay, Stitch. We'll go Stitch. Yeah.
No. Anyway, Stitch.
I'll look it up.
So Jane and Stitch are partners when they come to this town on this planet. They basically steal the money from the magistrate, all his gold and such, and they're about to leave, but their ship's too heavy. So he dumps, in order to get away in time, because the local authorities are after him, he dumps the money on on the public town square. Mm-hmm. And with that money is his partner Stitch that goes down with it.
Is Stitch Hessian? Hessian? Hessian?
Anyway,
Stitch
we'll call him
Whatever.
Stitch, not
Stitch,
Lilo, but
okay.
Anyway. So the people think that Jane's a hero for dumping all the money on him, and the magistrate of the town locks Stitch up for 4 years into this wooden box for 4 years. So we get to a point where Jane comes back with the Firefly crew, and the magistrate and the jailer let Stitch out of this wooden box.
Oh no, this is right. Oh no, this was a horrible thing. Yes. Okay. I'm curious where you're going with this, but yes.
Okay.
I'm.
Yes, and then they say, hey, your buddy Jane is here. Here's a loaded gun. Okay.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and he's like, and Stitch is like, why'd you give me a loaded gun? And he was like, well, remember, we didn't put you in this box. And for me, if I was Stitch, I would have taken that loaded gun and blow the magistrate and the jailer away, because Jane did not put him in that box. Those people did. Now, Jane dumped him, and I would later go on maybe,
to kill Jane.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
those two would have been shot right there.
Right? Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I know
agree.
this.
Totally agree.
I know this may sound weird if you've never seen the episode. Like, why is that okay? Okay, it doesn't make sense. But there has been such a buildup through the episode that when it gets to this point, you're like, what?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because it's like, no, yeah, exactly. I imagine this person being put in this box by these same people.
Yeah.
For 4 years. That's going to embed something that I hate. That you may also hate Jane. That's fine.
Yeah.
I totally get that. But yeah, you're totally gonna blow away these people too. It doesn't make.
And by saying, "Oh, we didn't put you in the box," you literally did.
Exactly. Yeah, they're not. They don't. I think they overestimate the psychological impact they have on this person. I mean, they wouldn't have that on me. It sounds like not you either. So if I was gonna kill people, they would be on the menu for that. So.
Right.
Okay. Awesome. Well. Let's go real quick. What character did you connect with the most in this episode?
This episode, I didn't connect with any characters.
Okay. I connected with probably, I want to say Shepard. I know we're in disagreement about that, but I appreciate his character.
And it's obvious she's running away from his hair.
Yeah, like, that is too. Yeah, that was weird, but I'm talking about before that.
Even still, it makes me not like the character more.
Fine. Okay. And then watching this episode, would you continue watching Firefly after this?
So for me, because of all those, this is the first episode that I didn't like, because every scene really? There was, like I mentioned, it was like, this is all wrong.
Okay.
So I did not enjoy this episode. Based on this episode, I would not watch this series anymore.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Okay. I'd say plot-wise, this was a weaker one, but I liked the elements of it. So it's a weird.
I like the song, so I'm gonna give it a pass.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I'll say this is on probably the lower tier of the episodes.
Which is too bad. Because it has a good premise, but the execution of it all is just completely wrong.
Not good for you. All right.
No.
That's fair. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to this. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time. Keep flying.
Good night.
Don't let the space bugs bite.
All right, Paul. Awesome job. I'm going to see if I can attempt to edit all this right now.
Wow.
So we'll see how I do on that.
Good luck.
Thank you. I'm going to need it. I wouldn't.
As you will need.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Oh, so it's working now. You got it to work?
Yeah.
Because that wasn't working before.
No, but...
Do you know what happened to make it not work?
No, that's not what I was referring to. I was referring to the whole snap camera not working when I said that.
Oh, I see, young John
But then
Wayne.
I rebooted, and it's all good now.
That's fantastic.
Are we gonna be like this for Quigley?
That's not a bad idea. I do have a striking resemblance to Mr. Selleck, but
that
I
big
don't
stash,
know.
yeah.
Exactly. Don't know if I can pull off his voice so well.
Maybe not the voice.
Yeah, not so. But Ashley says, great job, y'all. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Thank you. You
Thank
too.
you much. Thank you kindly, Ashley.
Oh, great. I have work tomorrow.
It's
better than not having work, I guess.
That's a fair point. Scary Cisco, I don't know what you mean.
No, don't egg him on. Don't want to be scary.
No, I'm scary. I'm a bat. Ha ha ha.
See?
I don't know why bats sound like this. Anyway, well, thank you, Paul, so much. Thank you, Ashley, Dale, everyone else who's been hanging out all this time. Appreciate each and every one of you. And look forward to the next time we can hang out on stream together. Pray that protection and provision over you. And yeah, just thank you so much for your time here. And until next time, here is your stream face.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Is
Whoa.
this a stream face?
Good job, y'all. What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Say again.